want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hovels and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Good morning this morning, everybody. Good morning this morning. Yeah. Good morning this morning, everybody. Good. Happy Monday. We're testing the microphones here at Radio Free Allman Central and Allman the Morning Central. We heard a fan. Thought we heard a fan. Do you hear a fan? I see many fans out there in Radio Land. Good morning, fans. But I don't hear any fans. There was a fan. We're just in our mind. We're hearing fans all night, maybe in our sleep. And then suddenly, I don't know. No, I don't hear it. You hear it, Maxie? Max didn't hear it. He's over there. He's in Central Control over there. Central Control headquarters over there. Good morning this morning. So we've got Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit, joining us in just a tad. Mark Casey is going to come in at 6:30. I don't know what these guys are doing. Are we still worried about what the Democrats are doing, by the way? Just wondering. I'll tell you one thing. This Schultz character, I'll tell you what, he is scaring people. Howard Schultz, he did that town hall with Fox News, and then he was interviewed by the folks over at MSNBC, and I don't know, I had to look up what bifurcated means, because I kind of know what it means. It kind of sounds like, it's kind of sounds like it is, it's a Todd Rundgren onomatopoeia, onomatopoeia every time I see ya. You like that song, by the way? That's okay. I wouldn't listen. I don't know how he came up. I thought maybe it was a children's song at one point, to kind of describe what onomatopoeia is, but it's kind of what it sounds like it is. Like a bolt of lightning. Oh, by the way, I put on my Facebook page, I saw a double rainbow yesterday out in West County, and it was a full-on double rainbow. Whoa, double rainbow. Remember that guy? You do? You better, because he put a lot of work into that thing. Here, hold on a second. I'm going to call it up for you. It's back in the day when life was simple. Remember that when things like double rainbows and guys and I think this guy look. I'm telling you what, this guy, when you get right down to it, looks like Nathaniel Phillips. No, hold on. I put in double rainbow. You think I could have come up with this beforehand, before the show, but I was too busy looking up bifurcated. I'm just saying. Hold on here. The guys who did the mashup, they did the double rainbow song of it. Here. Double rainbow all the way.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow all the way. Double rainbow, oh my God, double rainbow. It's a double rainbow all the way. Damn, it's a double rainbow all the way. Damn, oh my God. What does this mean? It's so bright, so vivid. Double rainbow, it's so intense. What does this mean? It's starting to look like a triple rainbow.
Come on,
that's
people.
That's a whole rainbow, man.
Did you all see it too?
Double rainbow all the way
across the sky. Hey, it's so intense.
Double rainbow all the way across the sky. Wow,
This is great. These are these guys who used to do the. Man, I wonder whatever happened to those guys. But they used to do the auto-tune the news. And they used to, remember that, Maxie? We used to play that on the old Allman the Morning show.
They are still doing stuff. They have a great one called Space Force.
Oh, they do? They're talented musicians, really.
They are.
They actually are very good at what they do. And so the original one I really can't play you because it wasn't really clean. The guy was like cussing and doing things like that. But this was great, and the just the whole the whole vibe of the song. It was fantastic. So. He really liked that double rainbow, though, I'll tell you.
Oh my God, it's I can't even capture it on my camera. Double rainbow all the way across the sky. So intense. Double rainbow all the way across the sky. Wow, wow, oh my God, look at that rainbow. Woo! That is the baddest fucking rainbow I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was on to something there. He was out in the mountains and saw that double rainbow, and boy, that was something else. But I saw it out near Chesterfield Mall yesterday. It was beautiful. So much for a 20% chance of rain, too. Thanks a ton, weather people. I took the roof off the Jeep. I tore the roof off the sucker. Took the roof off the sucker, and I took it off my Jeep. Because I went onto my phone and I literally looked up the weather forecast before I took the top of my Jeep off. And it said 20% chance of rain. I am not kidding you. This was at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so. And it was unbelievable. 20% chance of rain, and look what we got. Storms all over the joint. So anyway, I wish I were I could get away with being half that wrong all the time. Let me just bookmark that real quickly and move on to Howard Schultz and bifurcated. Let's all learn what bifurcated means. And we'll have to thank by the way, I know there's not a fan in here, Phil, because it's hotter than the hinges of hell on this joint. You know what I mean? I'm paying the rent for this place. You know what? The least they could do is actually give us some friggin' air in here. It's April, dudes. The heat should be off, but it's hot in here. Am I the only one who's hot, or am I just going through menopause? Is that my problem? Oh no, that was there. I love that made-up word, andropause. You know, people have andropause. Like, no, they don't. Yes, they do. For the purposes of this particular cell job, it's andropause. Like, no, there's not. Yes, there is. I don't have andropause. Well, I'll probably, if I do have any pause, it's probably menopause the way I'm acting right now. All right, here we go. So, bifurcated. So, Ali Velci, as you all know, the Democrats are terrified of, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring a separate fan in here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring a separate operation in here, because I'm telling you what, I pay too much to just have the heat completely off in this joint. That's for sure. Yeah, go mess with that. Go mess with that. They'll love that. See if you can mess with the thermostat. They love it when you do that in buildings that you don't own. Just turn it all the way down. Anyway, you know this Howard Schultz guy is scaring everybody to death, especially the Democrat Party, because they actually believe that somehow he's going to take votes away from Democrats. And the fact of the matter is he just might, because the guy is the only, with Biden so screwed up now, and I'm not saying for a great cause. I think some of this is a little bit overblown. I mean, I think we've established that he's a creep, but I think some of it's a little bit much now about Biden. I don't think that what he's doing is necessarily disqualifying. But it's typical of the Democrats to make a deal out of somebody, because if they want to run you out, they will. All you have to do is look up the Dean scream. Remember that? Howard Dean, who was really quite possibly one of the best candidates at the time running in the Democrat Party, but he was a little too left, but most importantly, he had too many people who liked him. So the Democrat Party, and I'll get more into this a little later on, but the Dean scream happened, and it was the Democrat Party that made him out to be some kind of like weird psycho. When he did, we're going on to Missouri, on to, and they made him out to be literally, they acted like he was insane. Like Ocasio-Cortez, I don't know, would you see her talking black over at the National Action Network? Wow. That was something. It was conjuring all kinds of crazy images, especially from when Hillary Clinton went before that black shadow field. We'll do that. We'll believe me, we'll get into that a little later on. But yeah, Ocasio-Cortez. So Ocasio-Cortez, some of the stupidest things on the planet can come out of her mouth, and yet she's worshipped like a hero. Howard Dean screams, and he's basically written off the list of candidates. He's disqualified. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable what happened to him. But I think the same thing's happening to Joe Biden. I mean, I get it. I mean, I've been hazing him for his creepiness for heaven knows how long. But is it really disqualifying for a guy running for president? And now apparently he's made jokes about it, so now he's in even deeper, and it's all the Democrats trolling him. We just stand by and watch this stuff, but it's all the Democrats trolling the guy. But I mean, again, take yourself away from your disdain from, and we'll get also to this. We'll get into this. Kirstjen Nielsen resigning as DHS secretary. Lord, I mean, it's just every time you turn around, these guys. You know, it's made into a big deal, but people leave all the time. I think President Trump is clearly frustrated with what's been going on regarding I mean, no one's backing him on this stuff. I mean, we've got Pompeo maybe, but no one seems to be helping him out. And no Republicans are, at least. Where are the Republicans on this wall thing? This is another example of these guys doing the same exact thing they've been doing for 25 years. They just stand by the sidelines. Where's Ann Wagner on the wall? Where's Roy Blunt on the wall? Where's Josh Hawley on the wall? Where's Blaine Luetkemeyer on the wall? Where are these people? They all, you know, everybody seems to know and find microphones wherever they happen to be residing, where they want to jaw about something negative towards Trump or whatever. But where are they? Have you asked that question about why President Trump is basically going this alone? Do you get the impression that that's what his task is right now? I do. I get the impression that nobody cares about this wall or about what's going on at the border. You know, President Trump wants to declare an emergency. The first guy on the Sunday shows is Roy Blunt. Talking about how he doesn't support it. Dudes, why don't you just keep your mouth shut for once? If you don't have anything nice and supportive to say, what are you doing going on Sunday shows a week before the deadline for a negotiation over something happening with immigration? You're already talking about how you're against the declaration of emergency. I mean, I don't know, man. It's frustrating to me. I don't know whether it's as frustrating to you. Call Tammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. And call anytime you want to and let me know. But I mean, I get the sense that this is all just on President Trump. This is all his thing. This is what his deal. It's all on him. The Democrats don't care about anything. They care about trying to do all their little hearings and all their things about the taxes and everything else. But where are Republicans? Where are these people? I mean, where's Mitch McConnell? Where is everybody? Driving me nuts. And it's hurting President Trump terribly. He's got nobody on his side, it seems. And up in D.C., everybody's really essentially part of the swamp. I hate to be so negative. I'm not trying to write anybody off, but these people are infuriating. And that's what we're getting from these guys. Nothing. So President Trump is doing this all by himself. Then he's having people like Nielsen resign. You know, I don't know why she's resigning. I don't know what the deal is about this whole thing, but boy, I'm as frustrated as you are. So anyway, I got about 7 different topics in that one discussion there. I got to take a break here. But I'll come back with the Howard Schultz deal. I'll come back with what's going on with Nielsen. I'll come back with what's happening on the other end regarding some of these individuals who are making fun of Ocasio-Cortez for her speech to the National Acting Network, which, of course, last week I covered extensively because that was a debacle and a you-know-what show for especially all the white candidates, all the people like Beto O'Rourke and Buttigieg and these guys. They were polishing Al Sharpton's shoes with their tongue. It was humiliating, but not surprising. Let me get my national anthem going here for you people, because that's what this is all about. It's my country, 'tis of thee. You know what I'm saying? Here, let me just pop this in there for you. I didn't prepare it earlier. I was so busy looking up bifurcated. I'm sorry. It's kind of what happens to me when I get obsessed with something. And I still didn't tell you what bifurcated means or why I'm obsessed about it. But I will. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Still a pretty quiet morning on our roads. No accidents, no delays. We do have major river flooding, though. Now, it will continue, or it is expected to occur at the Saverton Lock and Dam on the Mississippi and at Hardin along the Illinois River, and moderate flooding will continue at several other points on the Mississippi. We've got midday road work today, 9 to 4:30. Construction on westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. And the on-ramp from Van Deventer to westbound 44 closed with roadwork till the end of the year. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
You know, people ask me, Smash, you rock radioed St. Louis for over 30 years, and now you're Jesus musicating on us? Yeah, you know, People's Praise Party, where the word is in the music. After I played songs like Taking Care of Business for the 1,000,000th time, I took care of biz, got right with God, discovered all kinds of great music from the now, then, and the way back when. Hear it all Sundays, 11 a.m. on 1380 a.m. and 105.3 FM, The Answer.
This is Scott Ferguson, the Director of Outreach at St. Matthew United Methodist Church in Belleville, Illinois. If you're presently looking for a church home, we would love for you to join the church family at St. Matthew. We have 3 Sunday morning services, the 8 a.m. traditional service, 9:17 is our contemporary service, and the 10:45 a blended service with a full choir and orchestra. You can find additional information at our website, stmatthewumc.org. We'd love to see you on Sunday morning.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.5%, APR 4.78%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
New message.
Your Social Security number has been suspended. If you do not contact us, your account will be deactivated.
Scammers are aggressive when they contact a potential victim. Social Security Administration employees will never threaten you for information or promise benefits in exchange for information. In those cases, the call is fraudulent and you should just hang up. Don't provide any personal or financial information to these thieves. Call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
Communication is the key to building any business. 1380 AM and 105.3 FM, The Answer, can be your communication key. The microphone that voices your business message from the stage of your own radio show, defining you as the expert in your line of work. The stage that brings your brand to a solid awareness, place, and position in the vast community of customers listening here in St. Louis. The broadcast professionals here will help your show develop, building you, your company, and your customer base with and through an affordable on-air and online media distribution. Get to theanswerstl.com. Click Contact Us. Theanswerstl.com. Contact us. Do so and then look for a call from Sales Manager Lori Vernier. Then build your business with your very own radio show on 1380 AM and 105.3 FM. The Answer.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
This morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Mark Kaysen going to be in just a little bit. Maybe he can explain what's going on over there at the National Action Network. And maybe he can explain how they're going to fight Howard Schultz. Other than the way Ali Velshi did in screaming bifurcated at him about 7,000 million times in one slot. I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. It was pretty interesting to see Ali Velshi and those guys break that down. So we're going to handle that for you, and also going to talk a little bit about what's happening with Joe Biden with Mark and what the Democrats are going to do. Because I'll tell you one thing: if it weren't for Joe Biden, there'd be no one taking the Democrat Party seriously, because they're not with Ocasio or Cortez, who not only was super demeaning with her fake black accent at the National Action Network, but she was insinuating that the black people mostly just have the service jobs in this country. It was really weird. She I don't think she's hung out with a black person in her lifetime until she ran for Congress. She couldn't have. She was so white about everything. And even white people are more woke than she was. Tell you that. We'll take your phone calls too, 844-855-1380.
Thomason in Washington. President Trump has named a successor to Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, who has resigned. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan takes over as acting Homeland Security Chief. The White House says congressional Democrats have no right to look at the president's personal tax returns, and they know it. Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says Democrats just want attention and are engaging in a political stunt. A court hearing later today for a Chinese woman arrested after gaining admission to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago club. Authorities say she was carrying multiple cell phones, an external hard drive, and a thumb drive that contained computer malware. Ugandan police say an American tourist who was freed after being kidnapped in a national park will be turned over to U.S. ambassador later today. Conflicting reports as to whether a ransom was paid for the woman's release. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We have our first accident reported this morning. That's on 270 southbound after 70. And flooding is still a big issue. Now, northbound and southbound 67 are sharing one lane between the Missouri River and the Mississippi River because of flooding. So big problems continue there in West Alton, and major flooding will continue or is expected to occur at Saverton Lock and Dam on the Mississippi River and at Hardin along the Illinois River, and moderate flooding continues along the Mississippi. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dennis Prager can always explain the left.
They accuse their foes of a Manichaean worldview of right and wrong, good and evil, black and white. It is so utterly false. Every leftist is a child. Not every liberal, every leftist. And children do not deal well with the ambiguities of life.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
Interested in purchasing a silencer? Stop by and talk to the pros at Razorback Armory, the region's only full-service, silver-level silencer shop dealer. With our state-of-the-art all-digital process, we will be with you every step of the way. For your account setup, fingerprints, photographs, and federal forms. All are done promptly and professionally in shop while you wait. Stop in and check out our vast selection of silencers and other NFA items at Razorback Armory, located just east of 270 on Manchester Road in Des Peres, and online at razorbackarmory.com.
Health insurance premiums making you sick? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I have the answer. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency serving Missouri and Illinois. This is non-Obamacare, and you can enroll anytime. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. Why should you have to pay for maternity coverage and pediatric dental care if you don't need it? KDDI-INS.com. KDDI-INS.com or call Joyce at 877-695-0245. 877-695-0245. This is the answer. This is the solution. KDDI-INS.com.
The Ed Martin Movement this afternoon at 3. Now, Allman in the Morning continues on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
To be young and in love in New York City. Do not know who I am, but still know that I'm good long as you're here with me. To be drunk and in love in New York City. Midnight into morning coffee, burning through the hours talking.
Yeah.
I like me better when I'm with you.
Good morning this morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Monday.
I like me better when I'm with you.
Happy post-double rainbow day.
I knew from the first time.
Happy Howard Schultz Day. Happy Ocasio-Cortez Day. Happy Joe Biden is getting run out by his own people day. I'll tell you what, I was listening to a lot of this kind of music over the weekend because Khalid has a new record out. It's really good. I mean, you know, my son, Aiden, listens to a lot of that kind of stuff. He doesn't really do a lot of the intense rap stuff, but some of the hip hop stuff. But Khalid, I think he's 21 years old. Excuse me. He's got quite a record out right now. It's pretty amazing. I'm very impressed. You know who else I'm impressed with? Little Nas X, whatever his name is. Do you see what happened here? There's this rap song, or I guess you could call it hip hop, but they're calling him a rapper, called Old Town Road, and it features Billy Ray Cyrus on it. Hang on a second here. Now I got to get it to you, don't I?
You don't have to.
No, dude, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you. This is a phenomenon. Okay. I'm not kidding you. I've tried to tell you half of this stuff out there anyway. Camila Cabela's, Never Be the Same Again is a Texas stew step. It's pretty easy to see. A lot of that stuff is clearly you could put a country music riff on it, and it's clearly a Texas two-step. I've tried to convince people of that forever. Here, this is so Old Town Road comes out with a kind of like a country. That Little Nas comes out with a country hit, right? It doesn't ever hit the charts. So they go, I know what we'll do. We'll go ahead and here you go. We'll go ahead and remix it. But we're gonna add Billy Ray Cyrus to the song.
Take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the back. Horse stock is attached. Head is matted black.
This is number one on the country music Billboard charts right now. Number one. So a rapper is now charting number one in the country music billboards. I think it's great. You can go ahead and fade it down if you want to at some point, Soundman. But yeah, it's number one on the country music Billboard charts. Number one. That's how you do it, man. If you want to be, they didn't give up. They said, well, no, we'll go back. This time we'll get Billy Ray Cyrus, who'll do anything. I think they fed Billy Ray Cyrus life cereal for the first time. He was that guy. He was Mikey. I know who Mikey grew up to be. Billy Ray Cyrus. Yeah, Mikey will eat it. So Billy Ray Cyrus gets involved in this, and he's now number one on the country music charts. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying, Mark Kaysen? You can come on in. Come on in. Oh, he's got a book in his hand.
Come on down,
this
Mark
is gonna
Kaysen.
Be a nightmare.
He's got a book?
He's got a book. I'm going to give you this book written by Oswald P. Johnson, who I looked at when I was in 1968 in Berkeley. I read this book backwards and forwards. I know every part of it. Parswald Flea Flocklock, and from the Supreme Court case Myron versus Johnson, 1964. What is it?
Well, first of all, you have to admit, the last one I got you,
yes,
the book.
Yes.
I mean, you love it. It's right here, the Coolidge book.
Actually, you know what? I can't say that you're not a good book chooser.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, this will make you laugh. That's all.
Oh, okay, good.
This will make you laugh because I know you have no love for Saul Cornell.
See, I knew it. I knew it was somebody like that.
The title, though, A Well-Regulated Militia.
Oh, nice.
The Founding Fathers and the Origins of Gun Control in America by Saul Cornell. There you go.
How can you say Founding Fathers and gun control in the same sentence?
Read the book.
The Founding Fathers and the Origins of Gun Control in America. Okay. By Saul Cornell.
You'll love it.
Oh, look, I see a couple of blurbs here. It's a rollicking romp through the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
It says one of the year's 10 best, it says, by Max Voisey read it, and it says one of the year's 10 best.
Yeah. You know, I listened to you this morning. First of all,
it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry.
No, it'll make you laugh. It'll make you laugh. No,
right.
You'll
well,
say.
We'll get to this book.
No, don't worry about the book. That's just a present. I like to bring you presents.
I like that. So let me ask you this, though. Is this a book that tells us about how amazing the Second Amendment is or how amazing gun control is?
It's a book that explains.
Did you read it?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
It's a book that explains why the 4 liberals on the court believe what they believe about the meaning of the Second Amendment.
So this was written recently then?
Well, recently enough.
Saul Cornell, that's a great name. I have to give him credit.
You always laugh when I bring
I know,
him
but
up.
I mean,
so,
but that's a name.
No,
Is it really his real name, Saul Cornell?
Sure.
You sure?
Oh, I'm positive.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I just
Yeah.
want to let you know.
No, I'll tell you what else I like this morning.
Yes.
I like that you're worried about the temperature in here. Actually, the temperature is very, very comfortable. The problem is you and my wife have a problem with thermostat regulation.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got a repair guy I can take you to.
I probably run a little hot as it is in terms of my my temperature as it is.
That's all right.
By the way, can we get to Ocasio-Cortez real quickly at the National Action Network?
You're the boss.
You can't be supportive of what happened last week at the National Action Network.
I love Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay, here. Well, she loves black people apparently because she can talk like them and she has no problem with them being maids.
Well, okay, wait for a second. She is a person of color. That's how we describe it now. She's a person of color. Right. So what are we talking about?
So therefore, she's going to drop her New York Valley girl accent and instead talk like some black, like Cardi B all of a sudden?
She uses different accents.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
She's good at it.
Yeah, right, she is. Listen,
I've known many people who can do it both ways.
Yeah, well.
Many.
She doesn't actually flinch.
Thank you all. Thank you, Reverends. Thank you all so much for coming together and gathering today, because this is what organizing looks like.
That's right.
This is what building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like. It's when we choose to show up and occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most, talking about our future. You know, Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, girl.
With working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
Is that what black people do in her mind? There's nothing wrong with you folding clothes and working retail.
She happened to be a bartender before she became a congressperson.
Yeah, I worked in when I was a kid in high school. I worked at the Clayton Inn in the housekeeping department. I get it.
Well, I don't get it because I've never worked anywhere in my life. I've never worked.
I know, but listen to her though, and she's like she's so condescending.
But because it communicates that if I could work in a restaurant and become a member of the United States Congress, so can you.
There you go.
Come on.
You know,
I mean, that's unbelievable. You black people can be just like me someday, maybe.
No, she
if
said,
I put enough money
anybody
in Al Sharpton's
can be like her.
Skillet.
Anybody can be like her.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It reminded me of something.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far.
What
from
is it with
where
you
I
people?
started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this.
She was so on a roll there too. She
does
was
that
so
make
happy.
that makes me sad to hear that. Really,
She had her big wide eyes because she was she thought that maybe she had finally at one point completely tricked black people, where she had her wide eyes going on like she was the true saleswoman there.
Yeah. My only hope is for our country is that once a Democrat wins in 2020, that she will be appointed Secretary of State, which I think would just be tremendous. What a great way to end the lunacy that we've just gone through for 4 years. Hillary would just be terrific.
Yeah, really, because it's been kind of a drought lately. We haven't had any ambassadors murdered lately, so I think people are kind of missing those days.
But we
did
lose a Secretary of Homeland though today.
Oh, we did. Yeah, I know.
So we lost that.
I know. Listen, but
she's not tough enough.
Speaking of 2020, maybe Joe Biden can fit right in. Then I think he's. Oh, you know what? They took it off. Here, I'll watch it on YouTube. Then they took it off of that thing. They tried to
look at what they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules, unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
That's right, Joe Biden.
Did you hear Romney this weekend?
What?
Oh, Romney was on Meet the Press.
Oh, did he talk black too?
No,
Oh.
but he was very clever in the way
What
he
was Romney doing on Meet the Press?
Because he's
against Trump.
He is well. He didn't say that directly.
Right, but what was he doing on Meet the
He said
Press?
that he's tougher than Trump on immigration, and when asked about the possibility of him being in the primary against Donald, he said, there may be a primary. We'll see. Who knows? I mean, he's running. I know he's running. I've told you he's running.
Let him run, but nobody I know would vote for him in a million years.
He says he's tougher on immigration than
No,
Donald
he's not.
Trump.
All
He
this
says
was
he
happening
is.
between him and George Bush. All this happened while they were all in charge. I mean, he wasn't tougher on immigration.
No, he says he is tougher. He says he's
in what way?
He says that asylum is out of control, and that he knows that we could stop it.
No, listen, nobody is going to believe in a million years that walnut salad is tougher than Donald Trump. No one. Okay? No one's going to believe that Mr. Vinaigrette himself is tougher than Donald Trump. Mitt Romney has proven himself to be a cowardly pansy, and it's never going to change. And he's a loser.
Yeah. So you're talking about Donald Trump, the same guy who this morning is railing against Judge Flores. You know about that, right?
No, I haven't kept up on Judge Flores.
Well, here's the problem. Donald is screaming hysterically, "We're going to stop Judge Flores. Judge Flores is insane. What he has done is terrible." Well, guess what? It turns out there is no Judge Flores.
Oh. Well, so what? I'm sorry. What is your point again? Then here, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you just read a tweet or something today?
No, he's on. He's all over TV this morning
was a
screaming.
Judge Flores, wasn't there?
No, Flores is the name of the 15-year-old girl in the case, Reno versus Flores. Donald thought there was a judge who ruled in the case. Actually, it's much more complicated. We don't want to get into it.
I'll look for it.
It's all over TV. He's screaming hysterically. I'm surprised they didn't get the straitjacket for him yet.
Speaking of screaming hysterically, Ali Velshi seems to be a little concerned about the guy who actually, you talk about primaries, this Howard Schultz guy. And if I'm a Democrat, while the Democrats are running Biden out on a rail for what I consider to be, this is way overblown. I mean, listen, I've been riding Joe Biden like a rented mule his entire life, it seems, for all of his groping and stuff like that. But I never considered it to be a disqualifying factor in running for office. But boy, the left just, you guys won't leave this guy alone. And now suddenly he was joking about it. Now suddenly it's him being, these are, I don't know. These are. Is he alleged to have partaken in misconduct?
Not at all.
Okay,
and
what's going on?
This is reminiscent, really, of Al Franken. When you think, I mean,
no, Al Franken, that was a little much, but yeah,
Al Franken Al Franken was nothing but a comedian being a comedian.
You can't have it both ways. So, and to me, that's overstepping it, though. When you're taking pictures of a sleeping woman as if you're grabbing her breasts, that's a little different than what Joe is doing.
Everyone's sorry that they pushed him out now. They feel that it went too far. Look, the problem is men, and certainly white men, and they've brought this on all of us by being unable to act properly. I mean, one after another goes down appropriately, and then there's some problems here with people who have done nothing, because Joe Biden has done nothing.
Howard Schultz is in a situation here where he did the town hall with Fox News. It was pretty darn good, actually, because he was supportive of the president's attempts to stem the tide of illegal immigration.
Horrible.
And stood up for the wall, in fact, and seems to be coming across as a little more of a fiscal conservative than people thought he was. And so he's interviewed on the on the show, on the Ali Velshi show, this MSNBC show, and Ali Velshi can't stop using the word bifurcated. Okay, you want to hear him? You want to hear Ali Velshi bifurcate the whole for 2 minutes? Listen to this. And he's talking to Howard Schultz.
Said something about this the other day. Jamie Dimon said it. And you know what? A lot of Americans knew this a long time before you really rich guys started talking about how bifurcated America is. And that's where we are today. So do you get why some people don't really think that you've got all the answers, that you rich guys who are, I don't know who told you that America's bifurcated.
Yeah,
somebody came to you and told you that there's a problem because
I
the rest of America's been living it.
calling me a rich guy, but I grew up in federal, I grew up in the
but now
private.
you're a really rich guy.
But I'm self-made, and I built a company that employed over 3 million people over the last 40 years and gave health care, ownership, and free college tuition to every employee.
But you keep in mind, if somebody gets wind of this guy, the Democrat hopes are done. You know that, right?
He worries me. There's no question.
I mean, Ali Velshi hates him so much. She's calling him a rich guy. It's like, you got to be kidding me. Who owns MSNBC? Who pays Ali Velchi's salary? What a jackass.
Well, you know, you're not going to get anywhere with me on that. I love banks. I love the United States of America and its capitalism. Now, I'm as far left as anybody can go, but that doesn't mean you're against money. It takes money to do things.
Yes, it does.
I mean, there would be no radio station.
Right.
There would be no Jamie Allman. There'd be no nothing.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be money making things happen.
Yes.
I'm for money.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that.
I'm made of money. That's why, So what are you going to do about this guy? Because he's not going to hurt Donald Trump.
He says,
although to tell you the truth, I did talk to a couple of people who are Republicans who said that if there are people who really just can't tolerate President Trump, or President Trump does what Tucker Carlson is afraid he's going to do, and that is try to be too swampy and too blunty in order to get elected in 2020, there might be some people who go for this guy.
Schultz says that he will get out if he does not think he can win. If he's not competitive, he says he will quit. So we'll see if that's true. Because if he pulled in 4%, he could elect anybody.
I'll tell you one thing. If Trump doesn't run, I'd vote for him.
Maybe you have to see. Maybe you might vote for Romney.
I would never vote for Romney in a million years.
Well, we'll see.
I would be totally a never Romney person. There's nothing in my principle, nothing in my core that could ever allow me to vote for a guy like Mitt Romney. There's no way. I mean, I honestly, I absolutely have no respect for Mitt Romney. I'd never vote for him in a million years.
Or possibly John Kasich, one of those two.
I wouldn't vote for him either. Yeah. I'm serious. I'm a never Kasich, never Romney.
Well, those are the two guys who are going to be competitive. Where's Jeb Bush?
I'd vote for the Libertarian candidate or whatever, but I'd never vote for those two. Wouldn't in a million years. Never, ever. Never, ever, never. And I speak for millions of Americans. I got to take a break here. If you want to call on the calltammy.com real estate listener line, it's 844-855-1380. 844-855-1380, people.
Live from the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio, this is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, all of a sudden, we are picking up problems. We've got an accident on 55 northbound blocking a left lane after Arsenal. That backup starts at Gasconade. You can see it from the jam cam at Arsenal. And a crash is partially blocking the ramp from 70 to southbound 270. 270 northbound before Tesson Ferry. Reports of an accident there. And we've got midday road work coming up today, 9 to 4:30. You'll see construction on westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. And traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
We know you're out there hiding in plain sight. Living a life of quiet desperation, wondering if you're going to beat your money to the grave. There's a better way, a better life at Lifestyles Unlimited. It's time to live the life you deserve. You can only do that by creating passive income. Let us show you how. It's just 2 hours. It can't be worse than another meeting about meetings or another mindless night in front of the TV. Go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Hey, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors. If you enjoy hunting, fishing, or just God's great creation, then you'll want to join me in the Camp House. We travel all over these great United States, bringing hunting and fishing opportunities your way, plus special guests and knowledgeable pros. Big Billy Kinder Outdoors, Saturday mornings at 5 on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Brought to you by Denny Dennis Sporting Goods and Fenton, specializing in fitted guns for protection or the outdoors enthusiast. Like them on Facebook to get in on their weekly specials.
Rick Pogue here with Arrowhead Building Supply, the region's #1 specialty exterior building supplier. Arrowhead has the widest range of exterior products, from the most economical and commodity items to our highest-end outside elegance collection. If you need a contractor, Arrowhead supplies products to hundreds of the best contractors and builders in the business. Call us for a contractor referral and rest easy. The Arrowhead Cube Home Visualizer tool means you can upload an actual photo of your home and change it with just a touch of your finger. Now you can be 100% confident in your selections before they are installed in your home. Our product showrooms are the largest and most beautiful in the industry. We make it simple to experience a full range of siding, roofing, window, door, deck, and even stone options for your home or business. Check us out at arrowheadbuildingsupply.com or visit an Arrowhead showroom near you today in St. Peters, Missouri, Pee Wee, Missouri, and Fairview Heights, Illinois. Arrowhead Building Supply. Building supplies for building success.
arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Do you consider yourself as the expert in your industry? Do others in the community consider you to be the expert in your line of business? There's an affordable way to position your company as the expert. I'm Lori Vernier, Sales Manager for 1380 AM The Answer and Salem Media St. Louis. Let us help you bring your brand to life. You know your business, and we know how to build an effective and engaging radio show with both on-air and online distribution. Grow your business by enhancing your credibility and branding yourself as the market expert in your field, positioning you above your competitors. Let's work together to help make you the expert St. Louisans turn to for information in your industry. Contact me, Lori Vernier, at theanswerstl.com, and we can discuss bringing your brand to life with your own radio program.
If you love radio as much as we do, then why don't you join us by having your own show? Just go to theanswerstl.com and click Contact Us at the bottom of the page.
This station owned and operated by Salem Media Group.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380.
844-855-1380.
And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
I'm craving your body. Is this real? Temperatures rising. I don't want to feel I'm in the wrong place to be real.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Marquez, you stick around for a while?
Yeah, I'm okay, and I hate what you're doing to Romney there. It's not nice.
Yeah, I feel bad. I have to tell you, though, I really honestly, Romney and Kasich both are, I think they're bad people. Like, I think they're amoral individuals. I believe, for instance, I think Ocasio-Cortez and Kamala Harris, I wouldn't vote for them, but as people, I don't think they're bad people.
How about Jeb Bush?
I think Mitt Romney's a bad person.
How about Jeb?
I don't think Jeb Bush is a bad person.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think Mitt Romney is a bad person.
You think?
Oh, absolutely.
I can't tell
I
you.
think the guy has a dark soul and is rudderless and coreless. And I honestly believe that. I really think he's a bad guy. And so I'd never vote for him in a million years.
Sounds to me like somebody DJT, but I don't. Yeah.
No, well, there's some people who believe that about Donald Trump. I get that, and I understand that. But Donald Trump, even those people who didn't like him, it wasn't that they thought he was really a bad person. They just didn't agree with the way he comported himself. But I think Romney's a bad person. I really do. So I'd never vote for him, ever. Yeah. When he did his speech against Donald Trump, that was the end of any kind of semblance of any kind of likability when it came to Mitt Romney. But we'll talk more about that. Also, Buttigieg, we need to talk about that guy because you never know when he's going to come. Yeah, that guy.
Mayor Pete.
Yes.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump announcing a major personnel change, the departure of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen.
The president tweets that Nielsen will be leaving her position, and I would like to thank her for her service. He goes on to say, I am pleased to announce that Kevin McAleenan, the current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, will become acting DHS Secretary. The president says, I have confidence that Kevin will do a great job. The change in personnel comes as the president describes the migration problem at the border as a national emergency. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The acting White House chief of staff saying the Democrats will never see the president's personal tax returns.
They know they're not going to get this. They just want the attention on the issue because they don't want to talk to us about policy.
Nick Mulvaney on Fox News Sunday saying the 2016 election is history and Democrats should finally accept the results. He says that Donald Trump's victory drives them crazy. An American tourist who was kidnapped in Africa, now a free woman.
Ugandan police say Kim Endicott of Costa Mesa, California, was ambushed last Tuesday in Queen Elizabeth National Park and taken by gunmen to Congo along with her Ugandan guide. Kidnappers were demanding $500,000 for their release, but it remains unclear if any ransom was paid. While few details were offered, authorities say the two are in good health and in the safe hands of security officials.
That's correspondent Matt Small. A Chinese woman who authorities say lied to get past security at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida will go before a judge later today. Yu Xinjiang was allegedly carrying, among other things, a thumb drive loaded down with malware when she was arrested. American Airlines will be canceling 90 flights a day through early June, a result of the grounding by regulators of the troubled MAX 8 jetliner. On Wall Street, Dow futures down about 71 points. S&P futures off 3 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, we just keep picking up problems. We've got an accident on 270 northbound after 55. That's blocking two right lanes. 270 southbound, a crash partially blocking the ramp from 70 to southbound 270. We also have 55 northbound jammed up from Bates to after Arsenal, where a left lane still blocked there with a crash. We can see it from the jam cam at Arsenal. 270 northbound backs up Big Bend to Manchester, and 70 eastbound Earth City Expressway to 270 slow. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dana Lash.
There's a lot of things I don't do. I'm willing to give up free time to get engaged and go out, whether it's for city council, whether it's for whatever it is, to hold the fort in my area. Everybody out there has to do the same. I don't believe in the excuse I don't have the time. I just don't believe it. Be honest with you, I don't have any sympathy for anybody who says that. To me, it sounds like a cop-out. People want to warm their hands by somebody else's fire. They'll let everyone else do the heavy lifting for them.
The Dana Show. Weekdays at 1 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Hi, this is Jess with Razorback Armory, and spring cleaning time is here. It's time to go over your revolvers, pistols, rifles, and shotguns. Knock off the dust, dirt, and grime, and get them cleaned up and ready to go. We carry a full line of cleaning products and accessories to get your firearms back into tip-top shape. Don't have time to do it yourself? No problem. We offer a wide variety of cleaning, preservation, and restoration services to fit your needs. Stop by and see the pros at Razorback Armory, located just east of 270 on Manchester Road in Repair, and online at RazorbackArmory.com.
This is Dennis Prager. I want to invite you to join me for a travel opportunity that may be the highlight of your year, maybe even one of the highlights of your life. I'm headed back to Israel in December 2019 for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour. A tour of the key sites and places meant to give you an unprecedented view of a world you've likely only read or heard about. Come home inspired, renewed, and empowered by the experience. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity.
Book your trip at theanswerstl.com. Common Sense Radio with Allman in the morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit, coming in at about 8 o'clock. And I got to tell you, I've got a really great new endeavor for those of you who want to get involved in defending freedom. And that's with the Alliance Defending Freedom. I got a lot more to tell you about coming down the line, but we are partnering with the Alliance Defending Freedom. And I love these guys. I love what they do. And you see these people getting their MAGA hats ripped off at school and all that kind of stuff. That's where they will step in. But I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. Mark Kaysen in with me now. And Mark, I was looking at this book off the air, and you were telling me about how great this book is. First of all, it's 2006. And secondly, in 2006, Saul Cornell was trying to get $30 for this thing. $30 for this book?
It's a good book.
Oh, come on.
I mean, look, do you know what you do know what I do. I give people books. I give you books. I give students books. It's good to read.
This Lynn Cheney, James Madison book, which is 2 times thicker, is only $6 more. Saul Cornell. Now I know what Saul Cornell's good at. He's good at making money.
Well, he should be. That's how it works.
See how expensive
there you go.
Coolidge
you got a Coolidge book.
Yeah, let me see how expensive this thing is. This is just as thick, a book on Calvin Coolidge, and it's $18.99. This is almost twice the amount. How does that work like that? This is a book about a better person and a better thing, and it's $18.99. And this gun control book is $30. Yeah. Man, you people never stop.
Well, first I gotta say, even the Cheney book. I mean, if it's a book, I respect it, and I'm willing to give it a shot.
Book?
See what I'd like to check books out. You know, I mean,
the library or
no? Well, I mean, university I can get anything, but Amazon,
take it?
Huh?
You just take it?
Not take it.
Okay.
Yeah, they allow people like me to get them like 5 months at a time.
Yeah. All right. A couple things that I'm noticing in the news media and beyond is that Democrats don't seem to like the white guys very much. I know.
Okay.
I know, for instance, that the news media loves Beto, for a little bit, and I think, and Joe Biden obviously is getting just completely railroaded by the Democratic Party on this thing. Right?
I think he's going to do fine.
And it's funny because you guys did the same thing. I said this earlier to Howard Dean. Remember the Dean scream?
Sure. I always wondered about that.
You guys made him out to be some sicko because he happened to give a speech after winning Iowa or doing great in Iowa. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was doing great in Iowa, coming in second or whatever. And he gave his speech, and you all said he needed a straitjacket. You just railroaded the guy. Well, he was actually a pretty good candidate.
Yeah, well, look what happened to poor Gary Hart, who would have probably been a great president, and just because he had a girlfriend, I mean, he was, kicked to the side. I mean, today you got a guy in there who's got 17 women claiming sexual assault.
Right, but there's not one.
And he says he doesn't.
But there's not one photo of them on a boat in Bimini.
Okay,
that's
so
the difference.
They had a photo.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, that kind of is. I mean, when you're in that situation and they've got a picture of you doing that, that's a little much. I mean, he was on a boat with his chick.
You shouldn't say, "Come and check it out."
Exactly.
If you're doing the wrong thing, you shouldn't say it.
No, I know, but they kind of had him dead to rights there. So to this day, we still don't have, for instance, where is this N-word tape that everybody said
you don't even need
Omarosa
that.
had. No, yes, you do need that.
No, because we've got the Mueller report as soon as it comes out.
You guys, I'm telling you.
As soon as it comes out.
You guys are, you talk about rudderless. You guys are always, what you do, I get it now. What you do is just say that it is, and then it is. It doesn't. Like the N-word thing. Where is President Trump saying the N-word, by the way? Where is that?
He said enough.
No, he hasn't.
We know he's done the P word, so let's not even worry anymore. I mean, he did that with Billy Bush. So, he says, I assault women.
He was
easily,
kidding
no
around.
problem.
He's talking to some young gun down there at NBC.
Yeah, I know. Words don't matter. Certainly not for him.
Well, it turns out, actually, to tell you the truth, it turns out that he's right.
Yeah, that it's okay to do that?
No, that it happens. That because it was happening all through Hollywood.
Well, 17 women say he did it.
Well, where's the evidence? There's not
come
a shred of evidence.
I mean, did they have evidence that guys are Charlie Rose is jumping out of the shower naked? No, we don't have evidence.
Well, there are women who you can place him at that moment. There's not one time where anybody can place Donald Trump at the times that these people say this happened.
There's a lawsuit going forward. One lawsuit that's been okayed because it's a defamation lawsuit because Donald was so foolish. He called her a liar. Anyway, the courts are moving on these things. They'll get him.
They threw out Stormy's defamation suit.
I want you to remember one thing. Al Capone.
Yeah.
What did they get out? Al Capone murdered people, did all kinds of horrible things, but what did they get him on? Tax evasion.
Yeah.
And you know something? You may be watching the news this morning, and maybe you haven't caught this yet. New York State has a law that they're passing today to allow New York State to give Donald's tax returns to the Congress.
Yeah.
It's coming. This guy is fighting
every
way to
nobody
stop
cares
it.
about Donald Trump's tax returns.
Except for the
Why
government.
does anybody care about his tax returns?
Al Capone. That's all.
Unless he violated the law, why is that even a concern? By the way,
he did.
I noticed that in Chicago, so much for gun control. Did you see? And thanks for bringing this book in.
Sure.
By the way, Chicago, 24 people shot over the weekend. Is that called? But it's funny how that's not called a mass shooting because, as I pointed out, if you're a black guy in Chicago and you're not killed in a group, nobody cares about you. But 24 people shot in over the weekend in Chicago.
And
24.
I agree with you. And Los Angeles has the same problem right now too.
Right.
It's bad.
Okay, so on to these candidates here. So this is interesting. So there's this guy who is I guess he's one of those guys who is always looking for racism somewhere. His name is Jason Johnson. He loves to be on the Joy Reid show. And he doesn't like Mayor Pete. Buttigieg. He doesn't like Mayor Pete Buttigieg. And so he goes on and apparently even within the ranks of Democrats, if you're white, that's why I find it so fascinating, is that white candidates are discovering how truly, in my opinion, I don't know, I guess I could call it racism or prejudice or whatever, but how truly the white man is really not welcome in the Democrat Party anymore. It doesn't seem that way, at least among the people who are running it.
They're welcome, but don't you think, I know you don't, I'm sorry, but don't you think that, we should feel bad about being white?
No.
It's not good.
No, yes it is, it's fantastic.
There's a legacy to it that has been so horrible in this country.
No, I love being white.
Yeah, well.
I think it's an awesome thing.
Yeah, I don't think it matters
if
what
I were
you
a black
are,
guy, I'd be just as happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could be a Latina woman right now and be very happy.
Yeah.
I could find ways for happiness.
Do you remember the book about 50 years ago, Black Like Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
So, you
just throw that out there. That's supposed to be a point.
No, I knew you would know.
Yeah.
And the point is that, we've known for a long time how horrific it is to be black in this country. And
no, it's not. They're overrepresented in every category of life here in the U.S. Yeah, they are. I mean, in the media, in every
jail,
sport, everything.
In jail.
Well, yeah. That's not my problem, though. I didn't do the crime.
No, but we have created just a bad relationship between people, and we could address
Don't
this.
say we, because I'm not part of that.
Well, white people did.
No, they didn't.
What?
Some people did. But just because some Yahoo lynched some dude down in the 50s or 30s or whatever, it wasn't me. I didn't do any of that.
No, and I agree on that part.
And I'm not paying reparations either.
Yeah, well, that's
my
a
family
good point.
was here. My family came over here with William Penn on my mom's side in the 1600s, and they got through their entire generation, 2, 3, 4 generations, never had a slave at all. So I'm not paying any reparations.
And I don't think this may surprise you. I'm against reparations.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. I don't think. First of all, I don't even know who we would pick to give it to.
No.
Who would we write a check to?
Nobody.
No. So I think that's a bad idea.
Good for you.
No, yeah. So you now. On the other hand,
you've demanded like a formal apology.
Well, I think a formal apology every morning from the president of the United States, whoever it is, would every day. But you got to mean it. You can't just say it. You have to mean it. So that's number one. And the second thing is a Marshall Plan for the inner cities, where we would spend billions.
No, it's called a strong economy. You don't need a Marshall Plan for the inner cities.
In Los Angeles and Chicago and all the places you're talking about to change the environment.
You don't need.
We could do this
again. You don't need a Marshall Plan for the inner cities. That's not. I don't. It's called strong economic policies. That's what that's about. That's how that works. You don't need. It's like you guys with your Obamacare. We didn't need Obamacare if we just did a couple of quick fixes on the health insurance plans. For instance, the mobility of them across state lines, or decreasing the cost of pharmaceuticals. But instead, you had to have this big, gigantic, monolithic tax structure that was unnecessary and created problems for everybody. A Marshall Plan for the inner cities, we have the Marshall Plan for the inner cities. It's in the strong economic policies that are represented by Republicans right now.
It's doing a great job in Los Angeles and Chicago,
but they're run by Democrats
as people are mowed down.
Aren't on board. They're too busy. They're too busy trying to chase after other issues, whether it be gun control, whatever. They're not on board with these economic policies either. Yeah. So I mean, eventually it's going to happen with or without them. Let me get to Charlie's call on line 1. There's somebody who wants to speak to you. Hi, Charlie. Thanks for calling the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, Jamie, ask that guy there, is he sorry he's white?
Are you sorry you're white, Mark Kaysen?
No, I'm not sorry I'm white. I'm sorry that white people have done what they have done in this country. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I am every day.
Let me ask another question. Okay. Did you do any of those things you're accusing other people to do?
No, and
have you done them?
No, and not only do I agree with you with what you're saying, but many black people, many very radical black people agree also that if you didn't do it, it's not you. But that doesn't mean that we don't all have a responsibility as citizens to fix what the bad people have done.
But they didn't do it. But that's all. We have fixed it already.
No, well, black people don't think so.
Oh, they don't? Well,
no.
Well,
that's why 90% vote for Democrats.
But why do they still wallow in the past like that? You can sit anywhere you want. You can vote anytime you want.
But you can't vote anytime you want.
Well, but none of us can vote anytime we
want.
No,
but I'm saying there has been, enormous effort to suppress black votes.
That's a lie.
Okay.
There hasn't. With the ID, voter ID?
That's part of it.
This guy, anyway, I need to get Jason Johnson here. They don't lie. They think they don't.
But
you guys have a problem.
I want to say, Charlie's right, though. I mean, if you didn't do it, you shouldn't take that on yourself.
Right.
But as citizens,
if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah. But as citizens in this country, we all have a responsibility and an obligation to do the right thing, especially in terms of opposing oppression. No?
You realize I saw Do the Right Thing at the Union Station Theater when it was still open? I went there with, I think, my sister, a couple other people, and we were the only white people in the audience that Do the Right Thing. And these black people were all screaming at this screen, "Get him! Kill him!" It's like, oh, no. You ever see Do the Right Thing, Phil? Did you see it in an all-black theater? No. See, I did. I took one for the team. I went there and I took 5 lumps. All right, so anyway, Jason Johnson, he doesn't like the reporters and how they deal with
Democratic presidential hopefuls pitched their platforms at the National Action
Network
Network convention on
man.
Friday. But you'd be forgiven if you still don't know much about the policy ideas of candidates like Senators Harris, Warren, or Gillibrand.
Yeah, see, they're getting what they're getting at. They're thinking that the white. See, you guys have a problem now because you've got a bunch of people like Joy Reid and these guys who think that who don't like the idea of white people participating in the Democratic Party 2020 elections. They don't really like this. And Beto is already talking himself out of it by apologizing every step. But listen to this.
Harris, Warren, or Gillibrand. It may be because the media has for the last several weeks spent most of its time fixating on some of the men running for president. 2020 coverage has to a large extent been focused on Beto.
And Joy Reid is actually men, but we know what she means. It's white people. She doesn't like the fact that they're focusing on whites.
2020 coverage has to a large extent been focused on Beto, Biden, and Bernie. The trio Washington Post columnist Margaret Sullivan calls the B-Boys. She writes, quote, "We hear a lot about the B-Boys in polling,
so
and fundraising, and media ardor. They begin to seem inevitable, invincible. It's early, of course, but right now these three almost seem to have the whole thing sewn up. With a record number of women running for president, why are the men getting all the attention? The fixation of the media." Let me read a little piece of this Washington Post article. The rise of Bernie, Beto, Biden. The rise of Senator Bernie Sanders, ex-Congressman Beto O'Rourke, and former Vice President Joe Biden in a field of historic diversity has caused dismay among some Democrats, particularly African Americans and women, hoping for a mold-breaking nominee who reflects the changing face of the party and the country. I think
that means no white men allowed. That's what Joy says. Diversity. That's why we have such an aversion whenever people say diversity. We know that's not what you mean when you say diversity.
Well, it is what we mean.
No, it's not, because what you want is you don't want white people. It's what you guys mean when you want bipartisanship. You don't really want bipartisanship. You want us to agree with you. Diversity in the minds of many blacks like Joy Reid and these others just means no whites allowed. That's what diversity is to them, and we know that. We're not stupid.
Well, there is a reason that black people feel that way, which is what we've been talking about already this morning. The way white people have acted in this country, it's understandable that they would feel that way. I have to admit, I'm conflicted over whether it should be a white man or a woman.
Who cares? Shouldn't it be the most qualified?
Well, it should be the most qualified. That's Hillary, but we're not going to get her.
She's not going to run again.
No, I'm saying we're not going to. I said we're not going to get her.
Let this guy go off.
And Buttigieg. I mean, just everybody's been kissing his butt too, and it's amazing to me. Look, it's because, let's be candid, most of the reporters are white. And they're looking for a white guy who makes them feel good.
Actually, the only reason why Joy Reid didn't include Buttigieg or whatever is because she couldn't pronounce his name.
I think that sort of sums it up.
Well, it's Beto, Biden, and Buttigieg. I mean, just everybody's been kissing his butt too. And it's amazing to me. Look, it's because, let's be candid, most of the reporters are white. And they're looking for a white guy who makes them feel good about themselves. I mean, some of these people, look, Bernie and Biden, it makes a lot of sense. Beto, who didn't win anything. Buttigieg, who, look, basically, he's got a Rhodes Scholarship. He was a mayor of a small city. He's just a white gay version of Cory Booker.
That's outstanding. But that's technically true. I mean, I don't blame these guys for thinking that way. But the problem is, though, I think he's on to something there with how the media will gravitate towards the people that they like.
Okay, but
you know what? Biden is getting such a pass.
But listen.
I got a break here, and now listen, okay? We got to take a break here. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com real estate listener lines 844-855-1380.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Well, we do have some good news at this point. The accident on 270 northbound after 55 is cleared. The earlier accident that was partially blocking the ramp from 70 to southbound 270, that's also been cleared. And 55 northbound, your crash after Arsenal gone, but the backup still starts at Bates. We've got delays on 6440 eastbound, 170 to Big Bend, 70 eastbound, Blanchette Bridge to 270, and 270 northbound, Big Bend to Manchester. You will see a backup there, too. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Whoa, whoa, wah, wah, wah. Let me tell you something about Banner Construction, and let me tell you something about some of the great deals they have right now on the beautiful James Hardie fiber cement siding. This Hardie board is, since we call it Hardie board, because it is really a board, technically, but it is fiber cement, and it looks like wood, and it's beautiful. You can get all kinds of different, widths and that kind of thing, but boy, I'll tell you, when it comes to the James Hardie fiber cement siding, nothing improves the look and the value of your home better than James Hardie fiber cement siding. And right now, you have some great deals going as the trucks are starting to roll, the weather's starting to break, and it's time to beautify those homes out there. And if you're not sure what James Hardie will look like on your home, all I ask you to do is take advantage of their great piece of technology where they're able to actually show you exactly what the James Hardie looks like on your house through this great visualizer, the home decor visualizer, where you can see what any color of James Hardie is going to look like on your home before you even start. And that's a real cool thing. That's another example of how the guys at Banner are such great people when it comes to customer service. It doesn't matter whether it's the Hardie board, whether it's the vinyl siding, whether it's those beautiful wooden windows they have. They have a great reputation as one of the best home improvement outfits in town. They've been a supporter for the Allman in the Morning Show, or of the Allman in the Morning Show, since 2005, people. 14 years on running, and I appreciate Bill and Sam and everything they have done, and I guarantee you're going to be happy with Banner Construction and its brand new James Hardie fiber cement siding line here. And also, by the way, they're the preferred installer of James Hardie fiber cement siding, so get in while the getting's good. BannerConstruction.com, 314-569-1050.
Health insurance premiums making you sick? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I have the answer. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is non-Obamacare, and you can enroll anytime. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. Why should you have to pay for maternity coverage and pediatric dental care if you don't need it? KDDI-INS.com. KDDI-INS.com, or call Joyce at 877-695-0245. 877-695-0245. This is the answer. This is the solution. KDDI-INS.com.
Buying the right window treatments for your home can make a huge difference. Should you use curtains, shades, shutters, or blinds? Get the best recommendation when you call Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael has been serving our area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He's also a top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Cut down on the risk of error. Contact Michael at ProctorDrapery.com. It's Proctor spelled like doctor.
Good morning this morning. Look at my lovely face, everybody. I know, normally I wouldn't even think of doing some of these. I don't get the manicures, that kind of thing. But I will tell you that my friend, Dr. Elira Figueroa, who opened up a brand new, wonderful sculpting lab and wonderful skin laser institute, is called skinlaserstl.com. And sculpting, I mean, she can actually just melt fat away on your body and tighten your body up and give you cellulite treatments that you can't get anywhere else at the kind of level that she gives them to you. So I want you to go to skinlaserstl.com or find her on Instagram at skinlaserstl and see exactly what she has to offer you. So back to the whole facial thing. So I did a hybrid facial for the first time I've ever actually done, and all it is a removal of that top layer of your skin. It's actually exfoliating, and so it creates the luster of the skin underneath. So all that pile up is taken off, and it's done painlessly, obviously, and just really ultra comfortably. So I encourage you to check out the hybrid facials, check out the cellulite melting, check out the skin tightening, all in line for summertime, and she's got some great deals for you now. You mentioned my name, you're getting 10% off right off the top, plus a variety of other discounts available to you. 314-822-5309, 314-822-5309, skinlaserstl.com.
Larry Elder, tonight at 5. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Good morning, everybody. Let me take Ross's call on line 1 first. I got about a minute here, Ross. I'm sorry I kind of piled it up here. But what's going on, my friend?
Hey, good morning this morning.
Good morning this morning. It's Ross, everybody.
Hey, this guy, he's a great guy. It's not a personal attack or anything, but Jesus Christ, he's jumping all over the place. he said the P word. He would say the N word. I mean, that's a big leap there, buddy.
Yeah.
Being sorry for being white. I mean, dear God, what did we? Have you enslaved? Were your grandparents slave owners?
No, none of them were. We didn't have any.
How far back do we got to go?
No way. It's never going to happen. And Ross, I appreciate you calling the show, and nice to hear your voice again. Even though you did use the Lord's name in vain, my friend, and you realize what kind of company this is, right? This is Salem Media, people. You don't be doing that on the radio show here, for crying out loud. Ross, I love you, man. Thanks for calling the show, Tiger. 855-1380.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump announcing a major personnel change, the departure of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, who has resigned. The acting White House chief of staff vows that Democrats will never see the president's personal tax returns. Mick Mulvaney on Fox News Sunday says the election is history and Democrats should finally accept the results. A Chinese woman who authorities say lied to get past security at the president's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida will go before a judge later today. Yu Xingjiang was allegedly carrying, among other things, a thumb drive loaded with malware when she was arrested. American Airlines will be canceling 90 flights a day through early June, now as a result of the grounding by regulators of the troubled MAX 8 jetliner. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 75 points, S&P futures off 3 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Couple of accidents causing some big problems right now. 170 southbound stop and go from Olive to Forest Park Parkway, where a left lane is blocked with a crash. You can see it from the jam cam at Forest Park Parkway. And 6440 westbound. You have an accident on the left shoulder at Big Bend, and that's backing traffic up from Hampton. 270 northbound slows, Big Bend to Manchester. 55 northbound, Butler Hill to 270. And then Broadway to Gravois, 64 westbound, 15th Street to 55, just a little bit tight. And 70 eastbound, that is showing delays from First Capital to 270. And traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
1380, The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3, The Answer.
Joe Walsh explains what Mueller was supposed to do.
He had a very narrow charge. Our democracy was attacked. Find out, Bob Mueller,
exactly what Russia did.
And as best as you can, find out if anybody in America helped Russia. That was all Robert Mueller was charged with looking at.
The Joe Walsh radio program. Weeknights at 8 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stability Talk.
Come experience the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus at the Joy of Easter, the area's largest Easter production. A musical drama featuring choir, orchestra, cast, and live animals. April 17th, 18th, and 19th at 7:30 p.m. St. Matthew in Belleville. For additional information, visit us at stmatthewumc.org.
You have to decide, am I willing to get in right now? Is the world over? Is the good world over? Is it going to crash?
Miss your chance to ask Del a question during the show? You can connect with Del off the air, too. Go to DelOnTheRadio.com, click on the Twitter link, and ask your question. Hashtag AskDel.
I believe that a good teacher has the skill set to be able to bring people through multiple levels of learning that are completely different from one another.
Have a comment for Del instead? Use hashtag TellDel.
Hey, don't just listen to Allman in the Morning. See the show at theanswerstl.com. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
7:34. Good morning this morning, everybody. Welcome to the Allman in the Morning Show. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener line 844-855-1380. Good morning this morning. Man, it's been frustrating watching the Cardinals. Driving me crazy. This Miller guy's a dog. How much money are we paying for that? You a baseball fan at all, Phil?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh. Man, it's just, I don't know how. I know they won yesterday, but how much, I mean, how much are the Cardinals going to put on us in terms of patience for that kind of garbage we see every day? This Miller guy, what's his ERA, like 50? I mean, it's like every time there's a lead, you go into the 6th or 7th inning, and it just vanishes before our eyes. That has to be frustrating. I was just watching it on TV. Imagine paying money to see them. Man, this Miller guy's, I don't know what his situation is, but I know he was supposed to be a big star or something, and maybe things will turn around, but goodness gracious, that is just, it's laborious to watch that kind of stuff. It's terrible. Drive me nuts. I mean, I know they won yesterday, but it just doesn't seem like it's enough.
My son-in-law was talking about on the way back on our vacation. He said that Wainwright was pitching really hot. Really good.
Yeah, walk like 8 people the other day. And it's like, come on, man. I mean, I understand these guys are, but it's the frustration of watching leads vanish. And after a while, imagine being the person who put the lead together. You know, whether you're Carpenter or Bader or Goldschmidt or someone like that. And every time you put points on the board that are supposed to be preserved by your pitching, it goes away. It's just by the 7th inning. Used to be we could always rely on the fact that if we were behind late in the game, we'd win the game. We could, it would be great. But now it's almost a done deal that if we're 1 run ahead by the time the 7th inning rolls around, there's no way we're going to win the game because of our pitching. Drives me nuts. I'm no expert. I'm just telling you how people feel out there. And I think the Cardinals are good. I mean, I get it. I understand it. But, man, at some point, what's got to give? We need some help here. You know who else needs help? President Trump. This situation regarding the border is starting to get infuriating to me because I'm seeing Republicans not lifting a finger to help this president. I'm seeing people out there who are, I don't care whether it's Roy Blunt or Ann Wagner or any of these other people out there, and I'm just picking on those two because I'm more familiar with them, but Blaine Luetkemeyer or whatever, it's like, where is everybody? Where is everybody when it comes to helping the president get tougher on the border situation? It's all him. Apparently, there's something that is put together by Axios regarding the resignation of Kirstjen Nielsen. I don't. This Axios news outfit, you got to watch out for it. It came out of nowhere in the 2016 election, and it's run by former political people like Mike Allen and stuff. And I guess you're supposed to assume that these people are fair. During the campaign, they were completely anti-Trump. That's what they are still. And so I don't really trust this, but this is what they're reporting anyway, that she brought a resignation letter with her when she met with President Trump in the White House yesterday afternoon. And she wasn't intent on quitting, but was prepared to, apparently. Trump didn't want her to announce her resignation, basically. And she was trying to get the letter out. He went ahead and tweeted. This is according to Axios, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm just giving you the information that they're reporting, and just know that they're a biased news organization. Just letting you know. But they might be correct. Who knows? They say that Trump tweeted that she will be leaving her position. So I think the thing that probably did this in was his pulling of the nomination of the other individual when it came to how they were going to deal with this border issue, and because he wanted somebody tougher in terms of the border control issue. So border patrol. So that's likely the case. But keep in mind, look at what he's doing and what he has been doing, falling all over himself, virtually on his own. Do you have any sense? And if you want to call me, I'd appreciate that. And listen, Brother Bob, I'm sorry I didn't get to your phone call, but I wanted to kind of move on from the case and stuff and get to other things. The calltammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. But what I'm saying is that is there any indication that there are any people out in mass who are supporting President Trump on this wall issue or the border patrol issue or whatever it is? It seems like every time he has a suggestion or every time he has a solution or wants to do something, the Democrats and the news media automatically hate it. So they never get any. He never gets any thanks for that. I mean, keep in mind when he said he was going to close the border, he was raked over the coals by the news media. And then when he said, okay, I'll give it another year, he was accused by the news media of being a coward. So he can't win for anything with the news media. I get all that. But where are the Republicans on this? And I know that Roy Blunt, the day after President Trump threatened to declare a state of emergency, that weekend, didn't take Roy Blunt 2 days to go on the Sunday news shows and say he'd oppose a declaration of emergency, and in fact voted against it. 12 Republicans did. And so the president's trying as best he can to figure this out. He's got a crisis on his hands that's being allowed to fester for whatever reason by Congress. And every time the president decides that he's going to try to do something on his own, they act like he's some kind of mad dictator. And then those of us, when we're happy that he's finally doing something on his own, he retreats on it because he's not getting any support on the thing. I mean, I still haven't had the question answered. How is it possible that you can't close a border and still have trucks run through the border? I don't understand how that works. Avocado trucks or whatever it is everybody else is ultra worried about. I don't understand why you can't just do that. No one's been able to answer that question. But it's funny how every time you turn around, when Trump does something, like what they know they don't like it, but they don't have any other ideas. Well, that's not going to work. Okay, what will work? I don't know, but that's not going to work. It's like, okay, great. So do you have any ideas? It's funny how we have a bunch of Republicans and Democrats out there who act like President Trump is a mad, tyrannical monster every time he wants to do something on his own, and then when he does it, they get all over him as a mad tyrannical monster, and then when he pulls back, they just sit there again. They just like are on the sidelines again. I'm like, what are you people doing? And the problem is, there's never really any full demand on these people. They're never actually held to account. All they do is chime in, and then complain about how their power is being eroded by President Trump, even though they're not even utilizing their power. I mean, Republicans right now control the U.S. Senate. You can do a lot of things controlling the U.S. Senate. But the problem is now Republicans in the House are all working together, it seems, just to kind of not do anything. You'd think you'd have Republicans in the House at least stepping forward and saying, we have to do something, and we need to get Democrats on our side to do something about it. But they don't do it. It's very frustrating. And it's one of those things where I'm sensing that President Trump is having to go this alone. And it's starting to really have consequences. You know, if I guarantee you that Nielsen would be still there if there was any sense of cohesive backing of the president on his border policy, but there doesn't seem to be any. And I'll tell you one thing, man, that Blunt cave on the state of emergency thing is gonna hurt him like you wouldn't believe, unless there's something down the line that he's calculated doesn't matter. And that could be that he goes and takes a cabinet position or goes and does something along those lines, and then somebody else takes his spot, is appointed by Parson to take his spot. That's the only reason I could possibly figure is why Roy Blunt would do something so horrible as that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just conjecturing. I mean, there was word out on the street in the reaches of the grassroots that there was a possibility Blunt would leave his office, and that someone like Congressman Jason Smith, who's an outstanding Republican, outstanding conservative down in the Cape Girardeau, that whole area down there in the beautiful South, where that's like 89% Trump country down there. So they could lose Jason Smith in Congress, pop him up to the U.S. Senate, and there'll never be a Democrat elected down there again anyway. So you could easily. So that's the only thing I could imagine. Only way I could possibly conceive is as to the idiocy of the Roy Blunt vote. But I'm just asking, where is everybody? It's driving me crazy, and I'm sure it's driving you crazy too. And this whole, it's funny how the news media is going to ride this Kirsten Gillibrand thing to the end and act like Trump's administration is falling apart. But the reality is this is only a symptom of the fact that President Trump is getting zero support from anybody. He's going all this alone. And so it's frustrating him. And so he's starting to kind of get mad that nobody's doing anything. I mean, we're catching and releasing thousands of people. You realize these border towns like El Paso and in Yuma, Arizona, I mean, nobody seems to care about those people or those communities at all. And if you can imagine what would happen in St. Louis if we had thousands of people just dropped off here and turned onto the streets. But have you seen any reporting from Yuma? Or any reporting from El Paso or any of these border cities where people are just being dropped off? Have we been able to see? Because I'll tell you one thing, it's a real crisis when these people are caravanning. Like, we really feel sorry for them. We they're all desperate. They're just coming for a new life. But the minute they go over the border and then are dropped out into American society with nothing, there's no follow-up there, is there? No follow-up in terms of what's happening in the community, the kinds of draw they have on that community's resources and everything else. That's not being reported at all. Hell, you don't even have the representatives from those districts raising hell about it. A lot of them are Democrats. They don't care. They're just gonna register them to vote, I guess. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com. Real estate listener lines 844-855-1380. Coming up, we've got Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit, on the way. And I also want to tell you at some point about the Alliance Defending Freedom. We have decided that we're honored that the Alliance Defending Freedom have chosen us as one of the radio stations throughout the United States to talk about raising funds and supporting this amazing group. Because really what they do is defend people who, for instance, have had their MAGA hats taken off of them in school. There's a situation in Anchorage, Alaska, where there's a downtown Hope Center, a homeless center, which provides overnight sleeping facilities to women who are fleeing abuse, sexually assaulted, raped, and sex trafficked. The beds in the facility are 3 to 5 feet apart from one another. One night, an inebriated and injured, biological man, let's put it that way, tried to enter the sleeping facility, but the Hope Center paid a taxi for him to go to the hospital to get the care that he needed because he was obviously troubled. So the city of Anchorage, which is right under its nose, having all these women, all these people who are desperately in need of help, now is basically being sued for sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination. So now the city of Anchorage is going to try to force the Downtown Hope Center to let biological men who come to the center sleep right next to the women who are there for care. This is a big story. This is happening in Anchorage, Alaska, but this kind of stuff is happening all over the place. This is the kind of stuff that happens, and nobody really pays attention to it, and nobody really ultimately winds up getting the kind of help they need, because they're going to just shut the place down if they don't comply. So a woman who's sexually abused and leaves her family at the Downtown Hope Center and is sleeping there now must sleep next to a transgendered person, basically, regardless of what their situation is. Because this man says he's a woman, he belongs at the women's shelter. And now, unless this woman who's abused can sleep next to a man who's claiming as a woman he's been abused, or whatever convoluted story you're going to come up with, they'll shut the center down. And so the woman won't get any help at all. All because of the overflexing of the PC muscle that we see in so many of these left-wing governmental entities. And so one of the ways that you can give to the Alliance Defending Freedom, this is just one. I could sit here all day long and give you 20 examples of this very thing. It could be a situation where you had I have one here where you had a kid, high school in Arizona, suspended a student for wearing a MAGA hat during a party in the USA Day. You remember that story? Kid wears a MAGA hat. It's called Party in the USA. So you wear a Make America Great Again hat, and you get suspended. Alliance Defending Freedom steps forward for people like these individuals, because I guarantee you, as I just told you, with our cowardly elected officials and our obviously disengaged media, you're never going to get help for these people unless you had an organization like Alliance Defending Freedom. And what you can do, you can go ahead to yourfreedomfund.org, yourfreedomfund.org, and if you've got $10, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever it happens to be, or you want to have a fundraiser at your church or your school or whatever it happens to be, you probably can't have it at your school. They'll suspend you. But you know what I'm talking about. If you can raise money yourself, maybe you're trying to raise money yourself. Yourfreedomfund.org. And you can also do it by phone. 866-700-1060. 866-700-1060. As we go into the week, I'll make sure we have the number up on the screen for you. But it's 866-700-1060. And that's where you can really see your money go towards helping your fellow citizens who are suffocated on a regular basis by the PC governmental entities out there, the PC media, and everybody else. Because without Alliance Defending Freedom, there's not going to be anybody stepping up for these people. A typical example would be that cake maker, too. This is what they do. 866-700-1060 or yourfreedomfund.org. And so make sure that you go ahead and contribute to Alliance Defending Freedom. These people are on your side. They're one of you. And without them, people are going to drown in this sea of political correctness and, indeed, the misuse of discrimination laws. So check it out. 866-700-1060, yourfreedomfund.org.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Lots of slow spots and some accidents. 170 southbound, 2 left lanes still blocked at Forest Park Parkway. The backup starts at Page. Now traffic just getting through in the right lane. We can see the accident from the jam cam at Forest Park Parkway. And 6440 westbound, left lane blocked at Big Bend. That backs traffic up from Hampton. 270 northbound, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, just a slight delay there. 55 northbound, 44 to the Poplar Street Bridge is slow. And eastbound 70, First Capital at 270. Traffic is sponsored by Express Services, Inc. You work hard. You know what it takes to succeed. Now it's time to put your experience to work and launch your business. For a limited time, Express Employment Professionals will give you $25,000 to open your franchise. Get to know Express. Visit expressfranchising.com today. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Just talked to somebody just the other day who said, man, thanks for sending Michael's Flooring Outlet my way, because actually I kind of sent them their way, but it doesn't matter how they put it, because they went to the website, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. They went ahead and downloaded the $500 off tax refund coupon, which is all in preparation for you to go ahead and get $500 off your next project. And then they also are going to give you all the kinds of variety you possibly can want. And if you're wondering like what it is, Allman talked about this flooring. Can you tell me more about it? They've got a little chat thing right there at the bottom of the screen, and it'll take you to each store maybe near you. So they've got a store in Darden Prairie, a store in beautiful Creve Coeur, in Florissant, and Old Town St. Peters. Each store has its own set of people who are going to help you either way. And tasked by Michael, who started this business 25 years ago, $700 in his pocket. And, man, is he off to the races in terms of a flowering, budding, beautiful business for you and for all of your carpeting needs. So he's got this brand-new item, which is, of course, this faux wood product that I've been talking about. And this is a product that looks like wood, quacks like wood, but it's not going to dent, stain, or warp like other wood might be. So in high-traffic areas like a kitchen, you can actually have a wood floor that maybe is not a wood floor, but certainly looks like one. With Michael's Flooring Outlet, check it out on the web. It's michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Oh, wow!
It can't be. Oh, yes, yes, yes!
Oh, where have you been? If you snore, the first time you use Mute can be quite an experience.
I can breathe. I can breathe.
Snoring can happen when your nose is blocked, forcing you to breathe through your mouth. Mute is a comfortable nasal breathing device designed to increase airflow through the nose by gently opening the airways. Thanks to Mute, you get all the air you need through your nose and not your mouth, which means less snoring and more chance of sleep.
Oh, that's the best night I've had in years.
In trials, 75% of couples reported a reduction in snoring when using Mute. Available at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and other fine stores. To find your local store or for more information, go to mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep better.
You can certainly sleep better on a MyPillow pillow. MyPillow pillow. That's right. MyPillow.com/Jamie is your key to getting, first of all, a really great package known as the MyPillow package 4-pack, which has 2 amazing, beautiful pillows as MyPillows, and then it has 2 to-go pillows. So these are just kind of different formulations, but you can get the MyPillow experience anywhere you happen to be traveling if you take the to-go pillows with you, and you get free shipping at the same time when you use the promo code Jamie, mypillow.com/Jamie. On top of that, you also get these Giza Dream Sheets, which are absolutely perfect, beautiful dream sheets. And the cotton is grown in the Middle East. It's beautiful, that area along the Nile and the Mediterranean Sea. And it's a great place to grow cotton. That's where Mike Lindell gets his cotton, makes these sheets. They'll sleep you coolly, comfortably. And you get 30% off the Giza Dream Sheets from MyPillow when you use the promo code Jamie. So check it out on the web. mypillow.com/Jamie.
Joe Walsh, tonight at 8. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Yes, people, good morning this morning. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380. Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit, is on the way. And coming up later, what is it with this National Action Network thing that happened last week? I mean, as the sound bites dribble in the aftermath of this thing, it becomes more comical than you can believe. Ocasio-Cortez, who shows up there and starts talking black. And not only that, it was the content of her commentary when she was talking black. I can't imagine that Sharpton and these people really think that's attractive. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It seems like most normal black people out there would find that offensive. But for whatever reason, she got a full long pass. We'll talk about that too. Jimmy Hoff, straight ahead.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Unless Mexico does more to detain U.S.-bound illegal immigrants, President Trump says we'll have no other choice than to close the border and or institute tariffs. Our country is full, the president writing this morning on Twitter. His comments come as Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen resigns, her job filled by the Customs and Border Protection Commission.
Kevin McAleenan's appointment reflects President Trump's priority at Homeland Security, which was founded to fight terrorism. Last week, the administration abruptly withdrew its pick to head immigration and customs enforcement, with the president saying he wanted somebody tougher than Ron Vitiello, who'd been acting chief for months.
Correspondent Sagar Meghani, the president's chief of staff, vowing that Democrats will never see the president's tax returns.
Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney accused Democrats of engaging in a political stunt and said they should never have access to the president's personal tax returns.
The Democrats are demanding that the IRS turn over the documents, and that is not going to happen, and they know it.
Mulvaney told Fox News Sunday that the request by the House Ways and Means Committee for 6 years of Donald Trump's tax returns amounts to a political hit job on the president. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Accused of lying to get into the president's Mar-a-Lago club, a 32-year-old Chinese woman will go before a federal judge later today. Among other things, the woman was allegedly carrying a thumb drive loaded with malware. By labeling Iran's Revolutionary Guard a foreign terrorist organization, the Trump administration turning up the heat on Tehran. The designation, which may reportedly come later today, would result in more sanctions on Iran. On Wall Street this hour, Dow futures are down about 101 points. S&P futures off 5. NASDAQ futures 18 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
One accident still causing some good-sized problems. That's 170 southbound. You're jammed up from Page to Forest Park Parkway, where 2 left lanes are blocked. Traffic just getting through in the right lane. We can see it from the jam cam at Forest Park Parkway. But the accident on 6440 westbound at Big Bend, that has cleared. You might still see a backup to Kings Highway. Delays on 270 northbound, Tesson Ferry to Manchester now really heavy. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road slowing. And 6440 eastbound, you've got delays there. Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor, and then 170 to Big Bend. Traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
I'm Lou Dimes. President Trump proposes new drug penalties on Mexico. Employers creating trends in new jobs. Those stories next.
I remember feeling so desperate and so trapped. I was surrounded by family and friends that loved me. Any one of them would have listened to me, but I was so afraid of opening up to them, too embarrassed to talk about what was causing me so much pain. It felt like torture to be so close to people that would have loved to help me, and yet too embarrassed to ask for help. And then, a few weeks ago, I heard about Faithful Counseling here on the radio. Christian counselors, fellow believers, trusted therapists who not only share my faith, but could actually help me. They want to give you a free week so you can try them out. You can begin a conversation by text or phone, even video conferencing, in the privacy of your own home. Why not give it a try? If it's not for you, cancel during your first week and you won't pay a dime. Go to tryfaithfulcounseling.com. It's time to talk to someone who can help. Go now to tryfaithfulcounseling.com. It's so easy to get started, and your first week is free. Go to tryfaithfulcounseling.com.
President Trump is looking into slapping Mexico with unspecified economic penalties until they help crack down on the crisis at our southern border. The president citing the crisis of drug trafficking along the entire U.S.-Mexico border. He wants Mexico to stop the drug cartels and violent gangs from sending narcotics over our border. Economists are noting trends in the current workforce. The healthcare field adding 49,000 new jobs, professional and business services 37,000, 27 jobs in restaurants and bars last month. Breaking down a few of the numbers and the 3.8% unemployment rate and last month's employment numbers. The healthcare field adding 49,000 new jobs, professional and business services adding 37,000, and restaurants and bars adding 27,000 last month. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
1380 and 105.3. The Answer invite you to an evening with Jamie Allman and Larry Elder, Thursday, May 9th at View 17 in St. Louis. Join Jamie Allman from Allman in the Morning and special guest Larry Elder for a special evening filled with energetic conversation discussing politics, social and racial issues, and what we must do to win in 2020. VIP and general admission tickets are available now at theanswerstl.com.
Sponsored by Proctor Drapery. It's Proctor, spelled like doctor.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get first-hand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It's a beautiful day in America. Although a couple things are going wrong. We have some issues regarding the border. We have a 50% increase in the H-2 visa program that we just saw. Oops. That might have some defensible aspects to it, but we'll figure that out. And we have a Supreme Court that suddenly is not the Supreme Court we maybe thought we had. So we'll talk all about that coming up, plus your phone calls. Call Tammy.com, real estate listener lines, 844-855-1380. And one more quick thing about the fabulous View 17 May 9th, Thursday extravaganza with Larry Elder. For the $79, you also are getting a free copy of his amazing book about his relationship with his father, and he'll sign it for you and everything else. So that's just an added bell and whistle on top of the free drinks, free hors d'oeuvres, and everything else, the meet and greets. But now you're also going to get that fabulous book of his thrown in as well as an autograph of the book from Larry Elder. That's May 9th. That's a Thursday. So hopefully you can come and check it out. Tickets available at theanswerstl.com. Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit here. And, buddy, I got to tell you, it must be because everybody's afraid. I realize some reporters are claiming that this Buttigieg dude is getting kid glove treatment just because he's white. I think there is some kid glove treatment involved in this guy, and I don't know how the media seems to be suddenly swooning over this character, but you never know. I mean, I remember back in 91, we saw that entire slate of Democrats, and nobody thought Clinton was going to be coming out of that. So that's what we have. But you have a really interesting post here that has Buttigieg interviewed by Hollywood Joe, and it's about late-term abortions, which I found pretty interesting. And first of all, welcome to the show, Jimmy. How you doing, buddy?
Great, Jamie. Good to be with you.
Let me get to this. It's a long setup. I'm sorry, but let me get to this soundbite you have posted here. Mm-hmm. This is Buttigieg being interviewed by Buttigieg, or whatever you pronounce his name, by Morning Joe, and Joe's asking about late-term abortion legislation here. Check it out.
Do you support the late-term abortion legislation that was passed in the New York State Legislature as well as in Virginia?
I don't think we need more restrictions right now.
I mean, by the way, Jimmy, that's so funny, too, coming from, I don't think we need more restrictions. Well, maybe that's true. So why do you then suddenly turn up the burner and decide you're not on? This isn't more restrictions. This is you expanding the ability to kill babies, while at the same time wagging your finger at Trump supporters because President Trump is an accused philanderer. That's pretty. I'd like to dig inside Mayor Pete's moral code there, see what that's all about.
Yeah. That's a great point, Jamie. And will we ever see anyone press this guy on what he means by his stand on late-term abortion? I mean, the New York bill they were talking about allows for abortion up to, before the baby is born, during the birth process. So this is what he's supporting. And then at the same time, he's, like you said, wagging his finger at evangelicals, saying that they're not Christian enough because they support Trump, who's been this philanderer that everybody knew he was. It's really disgusting. I think what we're seeing, Jamie, and will the American public fall for it again? We saw the same thing with Barack Obama. Remember when he was running for president in 2008, and he went in front of this preacher. Him and McCain took, some time, and Obama sat there and talked about. He just lied. He just said he wouldn't, do anything with abortions. He ended up being just horrible for Christians. Cracked down on Christianity any chance he had. And I see this guy as the same way. I just think he's a radical. I think the fact that then he called, and I'm going to put this up in a little bit, but the fact that he called these Christian voters for Trump hypocrites. I mean, unbelievable. Here he's pushing this really just barbaric practice on abortion, and then he's calling Christians hypocrites. I just think it's rich, but again, will we see anyone in the mainstream media push this guy? I doubt it. I really doubt it. He went on Fox News Sunday yesterday, and I saw some people say, well, he's so brave, he's the first one to go on Fox News Sunday. Fox News Sunday, Jamie, you know this as well as I do.
Yeah.
They're in the middle at best. These are a bunch of Trump haters. Chris Wallace, his show, I can't even watch it since Trump's been president because he's such a Trump hater. So, that proves nothing. Anyway, I just hope and pray that that the truth about this guy comes out, because he's just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, it really is weird how there's I love these people who are always out to kind of fact check the president and always looking out for some kind of incongruity in a statement he makes or whatever, and yet you've got a guy in Mayor Pete who's just a mess when it comes to any level of articulated policy. It's just like, dude, you're all over the map. But this is a guy clearly who has been coddled and lives in his own little world where he can define pretty much any element of morality or whatever. So he's Mr. Virtue Signaler himself. By the way, also on top of your page, you have a very interesting story that, in fact, it was the Hillary campaign manager who was pushing this fake Russia story right under our noses at the DNC convention. Tell us about that.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? As you recall, at the DNC convention, that was around the time where some of these emails were being released by WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. And, of course, it was the pressure was so hot because what these emails showed was the truth. It showed their correspondence between each other, these top officials for the DNC, and it was really ugly. So the Democrats don't want people to know the truth about their party, and unfortunately for them, Julian Assange was able to release these emails, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to step down, as you recall, because the fix was in, and we found that out right before the DNC. It was very humiliating for them. So their tactic then was to push this Russia nonsense. And what we put together was that at the DNC, Robbie Mook was going around pushing Russia collusion, right? Telling all these people, "Oh, look at Russia. Oh, this is a horrible thing. We need to really look at this." We had Hillary tweeting about it, and then we find out, and I think we're the only ones who put this together, that this was the exact same time, the exact day that they started to spy on Trump and started this at the FBI, this investigation. So isn't that interesting that Hillary's pushing the same theory at the same time that the FBI started their investigation? I think there's obviously, Jamie, a lot more dirt here. I do hope we find out about it. I hope people are punished. I think, the God-fearing Americans want some justice. I don't think Mayor Pete does, but I think a lot of Trump voters do, because this was just it was so scandalous what happened to Trump. I hope that we see some justice on this, and I think most Trump supporters feel the same way.
Whatever happened to Robbie Mook, by the way? Where is he? Is he in some homeless shelter someplace, or is he actually thriving somewhere? What happened to him?
I'm sure he's landed on his feet pretty well, despite the fact that that was one of the biggest embarrassments for Democrats ever. They did not see the Trump wave coming. No. And as much as they push Mayor Pete, I just don't see, his policies for sure. For Trump, it was policies. He was talking about the border, and that just lit up his face.
Yeah.
I don't see Mayor Pete having any policies, that I've seen that's, going to fire up the Democrats. But he does look like he's going to be the new chosen one.
Well, keep in mind, you mentioned that, and it just occurred to me, that was one of the things that defined and separated Bill Clinton from that rest of that group, is that he had some defined policies. You remember the economy stupid thing was it's the economy, and that really separated himself. And so, but unlike those days, now you have a bunch of people who are just simply shining Al Sharpton shoes at the National Action Network, talking about reparations and everything else. And the media, it's funny. I'm almost, as much as we attack the media for all of its bias and everything else, I almost kind of want to let them go, because they constantly mislead leading Democrats into believing they're going to be successful. I mean, I guarantee you that Beto O'Rourke, Stacey Abrams, and Andrew Gillum all were almost absolute dead sure they were going to win their elections. And that's only because the media told them they were going to, and Oprah maybe, right. But that was it. And so, but they believed it hook, line, and sinker, so that it breeds this level of laziness that I actually find to be a good thing when it boils right down to it. So I say keep up.
That's a great point. And Stacey Abrams, she still believes she won.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you one thing, man. That National Action Network thing, that is that's going to go down in history as one of the biggest dog and pony crazy shows that I've seen in a long time. This Carnival Barker, Al Sharpton is really just, it's unbelievable. Anyway, we talked a while back. Remember the whole Barbara Bush, Donald Trump caused my heart attack thing? And it was a new book out, and that was apparently the big selling point is that here's Barbara Bush, who's been through countless elections in her lifetime and was, by all accounts, fairly strong woman, suddenly being demeaned, even though the media didn't understand what they were doing, suddenly being demeaned as being this weak, petulant, angry, vengeful, nasty old lady who wanted a Trump countdown clock by her bed and had a heart attack because she couldn't tolerate Boyd Jeb losing. And I'm like going, wow, that doesn't seem to be a feather in the Barbara Bush cap at all. And now suddenly Roger Stone is saying, no, she was that way. That was her deal. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, she had to be a strong woman to raise a son to be president, to be married to a president. I mean, that's just unheard of course. But Roger Stone had his own experience with Barbara Bush, and he wrote a couple posts on Instagram that we recorded on Gateway Pundit where he said he was lied about. He said that she was mean-spirited. A couple other things. It's not really classy to put this up. Roger wanted to disclose that she wasn't telling the truth about his involvement in one of the campaigns.
But yeah, I don't know. She's obviously quite an icon in American history, and she appeared very lovely on television and strong-willed. But that is weird about how much she despised Trump. But I'll tell you what, Trump hit Jeb Bush pretty hard, and I don't know if your listeners out there, they may remember when it almost looked like Jeb was about to cry in one of those debates. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, she was brutal to GW too. I mean, and human beings are human beings, and especially moms and dads. So I completely
Right.
I understand that, but I do think though it was really still surprising to me that the news media, even people like Andrea Mitchell, did a whole thing on this thing, and you'd think Andrea Mitchell, of all people, would be sympathetic to this woman who obviously contributed a lot to this country, instead of backhandedly turning into a petulant old lady. And I still don't believe that she really was. I think that they overblew it, but just because it was useful in attacking President Trump, which was a shame, really. I also like your post. This is great. Thanks to U.S. taxpayers, Mexico is no longer poor, and could stop these caravans in an instant. Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's the absolute truth. We see that Mexico, their standard of living has certainly gone up in the past couple decades. We see that one of their highest ways to raise income is remittances sent back to friends and family at home, and so they have no incentive to block the border. I think it's interesting that Trump's pounding Mexico right now, and we all know the real reason that we have these open borders is because Congress has these crazy laws, that allow anybody to walk across our border and say I'm a refugee, and then you got to keep them for a couple days and then let them off. And run wild in the country. So it's all Congress. I thought Nielsen, who just resigned, I thought she had an impossible job.
Yeah.
I think other conservatives may disagree, and I respect that, but just the fact the laws are in place are the laws in place, and I think she did about everything she could, but you just can't stop this wave until some of these. And then we have these crazy courts, that block everything Trump tries to implement. Yeah. It's just a no-win situation right now.
Jim, I expressed frustration earlier because I really honestly feel like Donald Trump is going this entirely on his own. He's getting no help from Congress. He's getting no help from people who could help him. And it just is infuriating to me. And it goes all the way back to Blunt voting against the emergency declaration. This is it's unforgivable for the every time you hear from Congress, it's something they don't agree with that President Trump is doing. They treat him like he's some kind of out of control tyrant, and then he backs off of what he's doing, and they call him a coward. But they don't help. They don't lift a finger for any of this, and it's really driving me crazy. And Mexico, let's put it this way. Let's just pretend we adopted even half of Mexico's immigration laws. They have some of the toughest immigration laws in the world. And if we adopted what their laws were, you'd have nobody coming across the border in that fashion. And as you point out in your post, they have the most substantial military and law enforcement apparatus in Latin America. They could stop this if they wanted to, and nobody's lifting a finger to help the president. But, Jimmy, always good stuff. I mean, go to thegatewaypundit.com, guys, and I was pleased to see that the Gateway Pundit showed up the minute you pop. I always check this to see whether or not they're messing with you. But I went ahead and put the Gateway Pundit in the search engine. It came right up, so I'm glad to see that.
Oh, that's good. They usually have about 5 hit pieces before you can actually find our link. So
I know.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. It's improving for sure. All right, Jimmy, have a great rest of your week, man, and thanks so much for your help this morning.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com, real estate listener lines, 844-855-1380 is Common Sense Radio.
Call the show at 844-855-1380 and interact with Jamie on the calltammy.com listener line. That's 844-855-1380. More Allman in the Morning next on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Ladies and
gents. Got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
An accident on 6440 eastbound. It's before Big Bend. Left lane blocked there with a crash, and the backup starts at McKnight Road. We also have northbound and southbound 67. Those are sharing the northbound lanes between the Missouri River and the Mississippi River. That's due to flooding. 270 northbound, big delay. Tesson Ferry to Manchester, and 170 southbound. That's jammed up from 70 to Forest Park Parkway. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road slows. 6440 eastbound Boone's Crossing to Timberlake Manor. Westbound Kings Highway to Laclede Station Road slows too. Traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Hey, Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency, folks. 855-QUOTE-ME, 855-QUOTE-ME. And I want to let you know that Matthew and his team, 70 years combined experience in the insurance business, they are the emissaries brought to you and brought to your doorstep practically with the touch of a phone button at least by a company that is one of the strongest insurance companies in the world. And I'm talking about the largest publicly traded insurance company known as Allstate. And what that means for you is, first of all, it's great for Allstate, but this is how it translates into greatness for you. They don't have to nickel and dime you. They don't have to squeeze every penny they can out of you. It's one of the primary reasons why, when it comes to low premiums, you're also getting low deductibles. In the olden days with other insurance companies, they just take what they can by giving you low premiums, but then your deductibles are sky high. So basically, they never have to pay anything out, depending on what incident occurs at your house or with your car. So that's why they have wiggle room. That's why they can give you low premiums and low deductibles. So your insurance company is there to provide you some degree of cushion when something bad happens to your car or your house. And so you don't want to always kind of turn around and go, oh, well, that's within the deductible. I guess I don't. That's why you have insurance, because they pay for these things for you. And that's why Allstate is so geared towards making sure you're happy. Also, when it comes to the Young Driver Program, they don't have to, again, bend you over for the amount of money that usually young drivers have to pay, or you have to pay for your young driver. So they have a special, inexpensive young driver program with Matthew Mitchell and the Matthew Mitchell Allstate Agency. So check it out on the web, 855-QUOTE-ME. That is 855-QUOTE-ME.
Hey, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors. If you enjoy hunting, fishing, or just God's great creation, then you'll want to join me in the Camp House. We travel all over these great United States, bringing hunting and fishing opportunities your way, plus special guests and knowledgeable pros. Big Billy Kinder Outdoors, Saturday mornings at 5 on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Brought to you by Denny Dennis Sporting Goods and Fenton, specializing in fitted guns for protection or the outdoors enthusiast. Like them on Facebook to get in on their weekly specials.
Allman here for my good friends at Arrowhead Building Supply, the Pogues, longtime supporters of Allman in the Morning, and I love what they are doing for you. They are the premier supplier of exterior building products in the area for more than 20 years. They have this really cool thing called the Cube, which is a home visualizer. You put a picture of your home in there, and you can see what the siding and the roofing all looks like in real time. The best-known siding brands, CertainTeed, Provia. It's arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Oh, who's this? You got to get Billy Ray Cyrus to remix this, man. Nine Killer, #1 in the country charts. If you do it all right. This is Phil Valencia's band, Nine Killer, a song called Diamond Glow. Love this, man. Is that you singing there, Phil? Damn good, buddy. Check it out. You can find that on iTunes, can't I? I already got it. There you go. We're going to take us to the 8:30 hour. We come back. It's interesting to see what's happening with the H-2B visa program, which is weird, but it might be a symptom, as the Trump administration claims, that we have full employment here and not enough people to cover the employment. But for whatever reason, that H-2B visa program has expanded. At the same time, the conservative Supreme Court has contracted. We're not sure Kavanaugh is so hot after all. We'll follow up on that on the other side of this break. It's Common Sense Radio.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Unless Mexico does more to detain U.S.-bound illegal immigrants, President Trump says we'll have no other choice than to close the border and or institute tariffs. Our country is full, the president writing this morning on Twitter. The president's chief of staff vows that Democrats will never see Mr. Trump's personal tax returns. Mick Mulvaney telling Fox News Sunday the Democrats playing politics with the issue. Accused of lying to get into Mr. Trump's Mar-a-Lago club, a 32-year-old Chinese woman will go before a federal judge later in the day. Among other things, she was allegedly carrying a thumb drive loaded with malware at the time she was arrested. Stocks have opened lower this morning on Wall Street. The Dow is down about 127 points. The S&P off 5, the Nasdaq down 13. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We just can't break free of accidents. 270 northbound, stop and go from Gravois to 44, left lane blocked with a crash there. 6440 eastbound is jammed from Lindbergh to before Big Bend. Left lane blocked with an accident there. We can see that one from the jam cam at Big Bend. And 70 westbound, your stop and go from Union Boulevard to Jennings Station, a left lane blocked there. 170 southbound, still a good-sized delay there, 170 to Forest Park Parkway, and 6440 eastbound, Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor slows westbound. It's Kings Highway to Laclede Station Road. And traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dennis Prager says it's all about your moral compass.
They hate Trump so they can lie. That is the way in which their moral compass functions. I can lie because I am a leftist and I have higher principles than truth. Getting rid of a president I don't like is a higher principle than telling anything true. That is their view. They believe what I have just said.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour. A tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. America First with Sebastian Gorka. Tonight at 11. Now, more Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow all the way. Double rainbow, oh my God. Double rainbow, it's a double rainbow all the way. Damn, it's a double rainbow all the way. Damn, oh my God. What does this mean? It's so bright, so vivid. Double rainbow It's so intense. What does this mean? It's starting to even look like a triple rainbow. That's a whole rainbow, man. Ah! Double rainbow all the way across the sky. So intense. Double rainbow all the way across the sky. Wow, wow, oh my God. Look at that rainbow. Double complete rainbow. Oh my God.
I wasn't on the drugs he was when I saw the double rainbow yesterday, but it does really impress you, though. I got to tell you, when you see a double rainbow, rainbows themselves are amazing. But to see two of them, and two of them that actually went all the way, well, like you just saw, all the way. It was a double rainbow all the way. So this rainbow went all out in West County. It went entirely a full rainbow, full-on double rainbow. I mean, I couldn't say it better than what's-his-face. It was a full-on double rainbow out in West County yesterday and around the 7 o'clock in the evening time. Beautiful. And let me tell you something. For a 20% chance of rain forecast, that was one hell of a rainstorm. Because here's what happened is I took the roof off the sucker, off my Jeep, because it was so beautiful. But before I did that, I checked the weather forecast, because around now, you can, well, actually, until you get to July around here, you never know when it's just going to suddenly just rain someplace. So I checked the weather forecast, and it said a 20% chance of rain. So I thought, oh, well, that's fine. I kind of looked up at the sky when I did that. I was like, I don't know. It kind of looks like it's going to rain, but okay. If you say 20%, I guess if you say 20%, I guess if you happen to be in that 20% lane where it's raining, then you're going to see the rain. I don't know. But I thought, well, an 80% chance it's not going to rain, even though I was like, yeah, I'm looking at the sky. I would say more like 50, but whatever. I'll believe the weather forecast. And it was 20%. So then it just started opening up. So I had to scramble, get the roof back on, but saw the double rainbow, which was just amazing, but a miracle considering it was only a 20% chance of rain. So we weren't going to see that at all until God said, look at this. Look at my beautiful paintbrush here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so a couple things are going on here with the Mexico deal. And first of all, I've already established, and I won't keep going on about it, that President Trump, it's starting to make us angry, the Trump supporters, because we sense that President Trump is not getting any help from anybody and not getting any help from our Congress, not getting any help seemingly from even some members of the administration. And now there's this hemorrhaging at the Department of Homeland Security, and now this Kirstjen Nielsen thing is becoming an issue, and now suddenly it's like, what say you, President Trump? It's like, what do you want me to do? I mean, I go down there, I tell you, I want this to stop, and you call me a racist and a Nazi and a this and that. Republicans are calling me a dictator because I want to close the border. I want to declare a state of emergency. You're calling me a tyrant. Like, where am I going to win here? So that's frustrating. And at the same time, and this is what's so infuriating. At the same time, then you have these Republicans and Democrats who never help the president coming out with their hands out, wanting him to expand or approve the expansion of the H-2B visa programs. I mean, first of all, the people who are asking him to do this, none other than Susan Collins, a Republican from Maine. And when has she ever lifted a finger for President Trump? When is she? Every time you turn around, there's Susan Collins, although she was helpful to him in the Kavanaugh thing, but still. When has she ever been supportive of him? Every time you turn around, there she is on the news as the go-to anti-Trump person in Congress, in the Senate. And now suddenly she and Amy Klobuchar send a letter to President Trump urging Congress to let in more H-2B workers. The Department of Homeland Security decided at the end of March to increase the number of visas offered and is expected to publish details in the Federal Register soon. The H-2B visa program, this is basically for amusement parks and agriculture areas. It's not the H-1 visa. This is the H-2. The H-2 is for generally agriculture and amusement and leisure workers. So we're trying to keep these people out of here from illegally coming over here, but we're at the same time expanding the legal ones, which is fine. It's legal, but most of these people, most of the problems we've had with the illegal immigration problem is people overstaying their visas. That they're illegal because they're not going back once they've had the visas. And that's, do you realize that's half of the illegal immigration problem is people overstaying their visas, whether they're H-2 or H-1. Did you know that? Did you know that half the illegal immigrants here in this country are here because they've overstayed, are illegal because they've overstayed their visas? Half of them. I mean, we're obviously looking at the border and seeing what's happening at the border there, but half of them actually just are invited here by our U.S. government. They don't really tell you that, but that's true. H-2B visa program is supposed to grant 66,000 visas a year, with about half for the winter months and half for the summer. But Congress gave the Trump administration the authority to issue an additional 69,000 this year. So that's basically increasing by 50%. And the Department of Homeland Security ultimately decided to issue the extra 30,000 to people who have held H-2B visas before. So there's such a flood of interest in the visas that basically they're all gone within minutes of the application process opening up. And in fact, at President's own Mar-a-Lago in Florida, 78 of these visas are being used there, just at Mar-a-Lago. So there are people who are saying that President Trump is undermining domestic workers, but there are also others saying that the unemployment levels are so low that there aren't actually enough people to fill some of these jobs. That's what the claim is, at least. Many firms say they're in desperate need of workers and have no other options. The government says it received 30 times more H-2 visa applications this year compared with last. Crab companies on Maryland's eastern shore are among those trying to get more of these legal guest workers. So this is an issue that I'm not quite sure if they could adequately tell me that there aren't enough people to fill these jobs. I get it. We're at full employment in this country right now, and frankly, the situation here is that this is a legal process, which is fine as long as it's not killing jobs off. But let me ask you this though. You go to North St. Louis and you go to south side of Chicago, or you go to any other blighted area of a metropolitan area, you don't think these people can use these jobs? And if these people are so organized, because they can be so organized in doling out H-2B visas, Kaysen was blathering on about this Marshall Plan. But really, he might not be far off, at least in one element, and that is, why don't we have a directed employment agency for the inner city? Or for that matter, and not just the inner city, but sometimes the forgotten people are the ones, for instance, I'll just use Missouri as an example. You go down to Jefferson County and Leadington and some of the other poorer areas of the state, or in the boot heel or whatever, those people need help too. I mean, there are people who are going to food pantries because they don't have any resources in these areas. So why couldn't we have, I mean, that's a fine use of my tax dollars. If you're going to steal from me, why not just make the effort to get people on board? Why can't we do that? And instead we just ship people over here to take the jobs when if you really had your what together, you could just simply create an entire agency dedicated to making sure that there's full employment up in North St. Louis or in DeSoto or wherever you ever want to be. Doesn't that make sense, or is that too much of a government program? But what's the difference? I mean, this is a government program. The H-2B visa program's a government program. Why not just take the resources you're using with the H-2B visa program and create an entire employment operation for the inner cities? I don't see how that could be why that's a problem. Why it's preferable to have somebody from South America. We come on, go up to North St. Louis. We don't have full employment up there. We don't have full employment in Chicago where they had 24 shootings over the weekend. That's all because, frankly, these people have no anchor in our economy. And yet at the same time, we're falling all over ourselves to get foreigners in here to work. And maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe you know something more than I do. You can call Tammy.com real estate listener line 844-855-1380. I guarantee you one of the answers that you can give me probably is that there are people out there who are making more on public assistance than they would working in some of these jobs. Let me look at the landscaping workers on the visa program are paid an average of $12.94 an hour, more than $1 less than the $14.28 average wage paid to U.S. workers. This is from the Labor Department and H-2B visa applications. So that must be why they're attractive to some businesses. But really? And let's put it this way. If you're in a landscaping business and you are so desperate that you need to pay somebody $2 less an hour, and so you don't want American workers, you want the foreign ones, how are you contributing to the well-being of this country? And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to do one of these, you got to pitch in and, it's takes a village. I mean, I get it. The bottom line is important to you. You can do better things by having lower labor costs. I get all that. But at some point, is that the reason why we don't have Congress doing anything about illegal immigration? Because actually, I guarantee you, an illegal immigrant is paid a hell of a lot less than $12.94 an hour that the visa guy's getting. I guarantee you that. So maybe that's why nobody's doing anything about it, because all their corporate masters and all their people are making too much money off of this thing. I mean, look what happened down in El Paso. That raid last week netted about 190 illegal immigrants from this firm that was refurbishing old cell phones. And you didn't see a lot about that story, did you? Because these people who were working there were getting paid like pennies. And they're in terrible working conditions, and they were just basically, once again, just a subculture of workers that were paid less and had no real connection to this country except for their cheap little paycheck. But you don't hear a lot about those kinds of stories. This tech firm, these people are traitors. If you're hiring illegals, you're a traitor. And that's just the way it is. And to claim somehow that they're cheaper and you got to do this, you got to do that. Sorry, I think you are. If you're knowingly hiring an illegal, you're a traitor. And you're contributing to the problem. But unfortunately, everybody's looking the other way, and that's just the way it is. I realize sometimes it's hard to figure out who's illegal and who's not, but At least these people are trying to do it the legal way, which is more power to them. I get it, but it's concerning to me regarding the trajectory of the Trump administration. I told you already they're increasing the H-1B visa program, which I think is not defensible. The H-2, you could probably defend that. The H-1, you can't. The tech jobs, Chinese, people from India, not defensible. And the Trump administration's increasing that as well. Your phone calls are welcome. Call Tammy.com, real estate listener lines, 844-855-1380. So what's up with Joe Biden? Has it reached a point where even you think, even though you disagree with Joe Biden, that this thing has become kind of ridiculous now? I mean, they're really making Joe Biden pay for this. Big time. And there's a reason, I think, that goes beyond just simply they're promoting decency. They just are scared of this guy because he's been Howard Dean'd. Let's put it that way. And Howard Dean obviously did less and was run out, but I think that's the case. And also, how does Don Lemon explain Ocasio-Cortez's black accent at the National Action Network? We'll follow up that as well. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
One accident still causing problems at this hour. 270 northbound is backed up from Gravois to 44, where two left lanes are still blocked with that accident. We can see it from the jam cam at 44. The crash on 70 westbound at Jennings Station is cleared, but the delay hasn't. You're still backed up to Grand Avenue. 170 southbound tight Olive to Forest Park Parkway. 44 eastbound Bowles to 270. We've got delays on 6440 eastbound Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor. McKnight to Big Bend westbound backed up at Vandeventer. We also have midday roadwork 9 to 4:30 on westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. Traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Man, I didn't think that I was going to become that famous to be able to be on a billboard in downtown St. Louis. But I'm telling you, Phil, when you were driving back from, did you see it? I'm telling you, I have 3 or 4 people a day come up to me and say, hey, we saw you on the billboard downtown. Michael Proctor, Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com, his billboard where here this generous friend of mine, this longtime friend of mine, decided he was going to put a picture of me up on his Proctor Drapery billboard. And it was from a photo session we did a while back when we started Radio Free Allman and everything else. And so he put it up there with the Allman in the Morning Show in 1380 and 105.3. And I'll be darned if not 3 or 4 people every day say, hey, we saw you on your billboard. I was like, wow, that's really cool. It's kind of like a little bit embarrassing. Like, I'm like, because I don't deserve to be on a billboard. I don't really deserve that kind of thing. But at least it's not a most wanted poster. So, I'll take, what's that? Exactly what they just saw on Facebook. Oh, they did? Yep. Oh, at least it's not at the post office, right? Yeah, right. So, so anyway, thank you, Michael, for doing that. And it's working. Just in case, I don't know how much you pay for that billboard, but that's, people see that. It's where the old Cardinal Redbird bird used to be, that flying, that AB Eagle or whatever that was. Where'd that thing go, by the way? Who has that in their backyard? I wanted that. Anyway, I'm off the rails here. Michael is a great guy. That kind of passion, that kind of ingenuity, that kind of assertiveness, that kind of get-to-itiveness is something that Michael is known for. And so that billboard is just an emblem of the kind of passion he has for St. Louis, for his business, for this radio show. And so he's a great guy. And you can imagine that kind of passion translated to you when you call him up and say, hey, I'd love one of your robotic shades, or hey, I'd love to go ahead and hit you up for your Roman shades or your side panels or your Norman shutters and everything else. He's got his mobile design unit. He's 7 days a week. He'll drive right up to your doorstep. He's your interior designer. He's everything you need in a window treatment person. And I'm telling you, he competes with these higher-end people who are constantly figuring out ways to kind of nickel and dime you. That's not what Michael's doing. He truly believes in his business, 45 years in the window treatment business, and he is just an amazing guy. Has done 3 different jobs for me, and I just love what he does. He's got a great eye, great personality, and lots of verve there with Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, proctordrapery.com.
It's amazing but true. When it comes to one of America's biggest household expenditures, healthcare, a lot of people think they've got no choice. People are used to thinking we have to do it this way, but they don't. Yes, you have the freedom to choose an alternative with your healthcare. It's MediShare, and it costs way less than the alternatives. The typical family saves $500 a month, not a year, a month. And if you're single, this can save you a lot too. And let's face it, a big reason MediShare is 400,000 people strong, it just works. They've shared over $3 billion in medical bills, so they can help share your needs too. Joining MediShare for so many people is one of those things that makes you say, why didn't I do this before? So yes, the time has come for something better. Look into joining MediShare and see why so many people are opting out of the old way and into the new. Why not look into this? Just call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis.
Business owners, self-employed, part-time employees, are you struggling to pay your bills because you no longer can afford your health insurance? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. With Obamacare premiums skyrocketing, higher deductibles, and shrinking networks, let me introduce you to Dryden Camus Insurance Agency as the answer, the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency has non-Obamacare ACA-compliant plans that do not fund abortion. There's no enrollment period, and you don't have to pay for expensive extras like pediatric dentistry or maternity care. Contact Joyce at Dryden Camus Insurance Agency and start saving up to 60%. Call 877-695-0245. That's 877-695-0245, or just go to kddi-ins.com. Cut through the confusion and save money with Dryden Camus Insurance Agency, serving Missouri and Illinois. This is the answer. This is the solution. Dryden Camus Insurance Agency. Just go to kddi-ins.com.
Hey, want to talk with Jamie? Call 844-855-1380.
844-855-1380.
And interact with Common Sense Radio. This is Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
It's all over us, like it always was.
Good morning, this morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. All right, people, so we have another issue to talk about, and that is the Supreme Court. And it looks like, even though Brett Kavanaugh was able to prevail through his confirmation hearings, despite all that nonsense, I think the left has sufficiently learned that if they beat the crap out of you, they could still get a level of submission from you in the aftermath, even though it's already been done and you prevailed. And that's interesting. It didn't work for me. Didn't work on me, so that didn't happen. In fact, not only did they not prevail and not force me into any kind of submission, but the end result was me getting 1 extra hour in primetime morning radio. So that'll make you feel good. But it's not going to make you feel as good as what's coming your way later on. But I'll get to that in due time. But nonetheless, with Kavanaugh, it's had an impact. And so he and Roberts apparently are in love with each other there on the Supreme Court. And it's not working out really well for those of you who thought maybe you'd have a truly conservative swing on the Supreme Court. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's not, you're not hearing a lot about this because there's so much noise going on. There's so much stuff happening with the Democrats and the race and with President Trump and everything else. You're kind of missing out on the things that probably end up affecting you more than what you're seeing out there. And what you're hearing about. So I'll explain that on the other side of this break. Also going to double back on the National Action Network and Ocasio-Cortez taking on her. It wasn't just her black accent, her talking like a black person. It was the content of what she was saying to these individuals. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and no one's come out and said, that was not right. And what is it about Sharpton's people that make them pliable and so influenced the way they are by someone like Ocasio-Cortez, who, had I come out there and said that, they would have ridden me out on a rail. Coming up.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump is thanking outgoing Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen for her service. Nielsen has resigned, and the president has already named a successor.
After months of enduring on-again, off-again criticism from President Trump, Secretary Nielsen is leaving the Department of Homeland Security. The president has long been unhappy with the increase of migrants coming across the southern U.S. border, which has put pressure on the Department of Homeland Security. On Twitter, Mr. Trump confirmed that Nielsen is out and that Kevin McAleenan, the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, will take over as the acting DHS Secretary. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Calling President Trump's taxes old news, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says Democrat demands for release of Mr. Trump's personal taxes nothing more than political theater.
You could always allow people to see it. That's not what's happening here. The Democrats are demanding that the IRS turn over the documents, and that is not going to happen, and they know it. This is a political stunt.
He tells Fox News Sunday the real issue for the Democrats is the 2016 election. He says they still can't get over Mr. Trump's win. A 6-month-old baby, one of 3 people killed in the weekend crash of a fire truck and a pickup at a West Phoenix intersection. Eyewitness Brian Wood telling ABC15.com the fire truck driver was talking after the accident.
The driver got out and said, the guy just jumped out from me from the middle of nowhere, and I tried to avoid him, and he almost ran into a school building, and he said I couldn't miss him.
All 3 of the victims were in the pickup truck, although 3 firefighters were seriously hurt in that crash. Wall Street starting off the new week on a down note. Stocks are sharply lower. The Dow is off about 157 points. The S&P down 10 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
One accident still causing some good-sized problems. That's 170 southbound. You're jammed up from Page to Forest Park Parkway, where 2 left lanes are blocked. Traffic just getting through in the right lane. We can see it from the jam cam at Forest Park Parkway. But the accident on 6440 westbound at Big Bend, that has cleared. You might still see a backup to Kings Highway. Delays on 270 northbound, Tesson Ferry to Manchester now really heavy. 44 eastbound Elm to Laclede Station Road slowing. And 6440 eastbound, you've got delays there. Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor, and then 170 to Big Bend. Traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Dana Lash.
Kids today, you will be judged in this social media era as a 50-year-old for what you're doing right now. If you think, wow, I'm so glad I escaped that, just you wait in several decades to ruin your life. No, but if you're a Democrat, that's like having the Costco card. And you walk in, you just flash that card, and they're like, oh, it's okay. You can go in without being trashed and having your life ruined. It's great.
The Dana Show. Weekdays at 1 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand with Israel tour, a tour through the land of Israel in December 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. Walk the ancient temple steps, sail on the Sea of Galilee, and so many more unforgettable moments. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your opportunity. With expert guides and important lectures at key sites, we'll be together in the comfort and safety of luxurious accommodations the whole time. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose.
Join Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher for an unforgettable guided tour through Israel this December 2nd through 11th. Book your trip now at theanswerstl.com. Dennis Prager can always explain the left.
They accuse their foes of a Manichaean worldview of right and wrong, good and evil, black and white. It is so utterly false. Every leftist is a child. Not every liberal, every leftist. And children do not deal well with the ambiguities of life.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekday mornings at 11 on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer. Breaking news. Stimulating talk.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith. Come see what your smile can be at Dentistry with TLC.
Common Sense Radio with Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in.
Good morning this morning, everybody. Hello. Happy Monday. And yes, Monday. And it means it's another installment of Jesus, His Life on the History Channel. 7 o'clock, and these are 2 episodes back-to-back every week. So I think this might be the last episode, or 2 episodes, of Jesus' life. And, of course, it's exploring the story of Jesus Christ through this very unique lens. It's told through the biblical figures who were basically closest to him, but kind of they all had their own element of variety to them. So you have Joseph, John the Baptist, Mary, mother of Jesus, Caiaphas, Judas Iscariot, Pontius Pilate, Mary Magdalene, and Peter. So all kind of told through their lens, and it's pretty fascinating. And I hope ultimately, I believe they're going to make it available to people as one series that you could buy as a DVD or whatever, I don't know, or Netflix or whatever. But it's really a great program. So tonight again, the installment of Jesus' Life that's on the History Channel at 7 o'clock. So, yeah, everybody understands that sometimes, you know, when you're in a group of people, you tend to people tend to adapt. I don't know. You go south for a little while, you hang around a bunch of Alabamans, you know, or what have you. And I've done that before, you know, down in Florida, and you're hanging out with people, and you kind of, I don't know, sometimes you adopt a little bit of their linguistic style. I don't know. I don't really start saying like y'all or anything. I don't know. But I've seen it happen before. And it does happen. But with, it's different, I think, when you're, I don't know, maybe it's not different, but it's different to me, like when you're with black people. Like a white person suddenly talking black among black people sounds so embarrassing. And especially when, first of all, it's so insincere, and it's so just mercenary. It's embarrassing. And sometimes white people are really embarrassing. And there's Justice Kavanaugh there. I'll get to that in a second. But so Ocasio-Cortez, I mean, listen, she's 29, okay? She's young, and I'm sure she has a high intellect somewhere in there. But she's young, and she has a lot of really stupid ideas, and she's basically kid gloved. Nobody dares cross her because they are racist, or they are this, or they're that, or they're misogynist or something. So, in this world, Ocasio-Cortez has gotten like a completely free ride. Not by us, but she really has. Although, to tell you the truth, it's not really helping her that much. The media, unfortunately, as I explained to Jimmy Hoft earlier, I like it when the media gives these people a false sense of security, because it's always great to compete against somebody with a false sense of security, because almost invariably they lose. And it's the tortoise and the hare, except just in a different kind of situation. But the situation here with Ocasio-Cortez and the media is they love her so much, they just keep on telling her she's great, even though her own people, her own constituency, her numbers are underwater. So, she's not even popular in her own district, and chances are pretty good, unless she has a complete infusion of more Soros money. I don't think there's an amount of money in the world that's going to save her from defeat in 2020. Somebody's going to primary her as the going gets tougher for Democrats. Somebody's going to primary her. Somebody with some guts, hopefully, who's not afraid to be called a racist, but there aren't too many people out there like that. Calling somebody a racist is one of the biggest, most powerful weapons they have in America these days. So Ocasio-Cortez is at the National Action Network, which is Al Sharpton's extortion program, where National Action Network usually busies itself threatening companies with accusations of racism unless the companies give Al Sharpton money. You can buy him off really easily. So a company that wants to be in his good graces and that might have a little bit of a problem here and there, and they don't want Al Sharpton to call them racist, they can drop $5,000 in the National Action Network. It'll keep his big mouth shut. So he's a prostitute in a variety of ways, but that's the main way. But anyway, so the National Action Network was a place where, all the Democrat politicians had to come and kiss his ring. And so it was Beto O'Rourke was embarrassing. His Buttigieg was embarrassing. Ocasio-Cortez went and talked to these people, and it wasn't necessarily just in her accent, but it was in the content of what she was saying to these people. Here. The National Action Network.
Thank you all. Thank you, Reverend. Thank you all so much for coming together and gathering.
Has Al Sharpton ever done any presided over any type of religious ceremony ever? And do we know? Maybe we do. Do we know how he got his divinity thing? Do we know that at all? Like, how is he a reverend? Do you realize there's an old video? You should look it up. You want me to? You do, don't you, people? Yes, you do. Look it up, Jamie. Yeah, look it up. Here, I've got an old video. Hold on a second here. Just bear with me, people. What else do you have to do? What do you have to lose, as Donald Trump would say? No, is that What do you have to lose? Let's see. I'm pretty sure this is it. Type it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So now you know that you remember the show Soul Train. Choo choo. That was actually, it was back in the day. They had American Bandstand and they had Soul Train. Soul Train. And it was great. I mean, Soul Train was awesome. Don Cornelius was the guy, And American Bandstand was pretty cool, too. But when you think about it, think of how weird that was just to have an entire show just watching a bunch of people dance. It was like the craziest thing. But Soul Train was great because it was like they had a great little thing going there. So,
back with the Godfather James Brown and James.
So now, wait a minute. That's more of like when I was when it first started, that was when they did the Soul Train. But they don't do this is more modern here.
This has been a most successful
here. It's just James Brown. Wait.
Communities, and I'm sure you've been exposed to some of it because
the fact that we've got.
Watch this. Hold on. I'm getting to it.
Blacks and
welcome him warmly. His name is
here.
I think is an astounding
James Brown. Listen to this.
Because of his youth, he's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot. And he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. About it for Al Sharpton.
Oh, Soul Train! Big old fat
Al is
Al Sharpton,
the national director of the National Youth.
Yeah, well, the Cornelius like, what? National director of what, dude? You're the national director of the National Youth. Yeah, the National Youth. You. Here.
Ms. Al Sharpton. About it for Al Sharpton.
Yeah. Here it comes.
Al is the national director of
whatever
the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right,
oh, the National Youth Movement Incorporated. I wonder how much money he pounded into his pockets with that organization.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller.
You gotta give Al Sharpton credit though, man. He's 19 years old. He's sitting there giving a presentation to James Brown on Soul Train. And he's wearing a hot suit with sideburns and everything. Al Sharpton, man. Tell you, dude, you're 19, man. You gotta give you some credit there, I guess. Aw, look at that cutie pie. Here we go.
We view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
I don't know. That's before he became a reverend, that's for sure. But I gotta hand it to him though, you know. The 19 years old on that show. So anyway, that's just a little trivia for you from you might not have known that Al Sharpton was on Soul Train. Anyway, now he's moved on as an older adult to the National Action Network, which is an extortion outfit, as I explained to you. And Ocasio-Cortez is talking in front of the audience, and how the audience puts up with this is beyond me. But here, check it out.
Because this is what organizing looks like.
That's right.
This is what
Now, keep in mind, this is what organizing looked like. Keep in mind that was the mantra, actually, of the Black Lives Matter movement. Remember this is what democracy looks like. Remember that chant?
Building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like. It's when we choose
now, what is that? What is that? What looks like? What is that about? Like, where's that coming from?
Up and occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most, talking about our future. You know, Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat. There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work. There is nothing.
Really? That doesn't sound like a really enthusiastic audience. So, yeah. Are you saying that we're all a bunch of bus drivers or cooks? That's like when Obama was talking about illegal immigrants and that kind of thing. Who's gonna clean the bed? Who's gonna make the beds? Who's gonna take care of the babies? It's like, dude, what is your problem? Who's gonna clean my hotel room?
Nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified about it.
Yeah, that's why President Trump is putting so many of them to work, Chicky Poo. Just for your information.
Nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food.
By the way, is it's interesting how she describes working retail as folding clothes for other people to buy. Like, is that like a thing? Do they fold things before they put them on, or aren't they already kind of come that way? Or, I mean, I've seen people folding clothes, but that's after somebody came out of a dressing room and just like dumped it into a box, right? I think. I don't know.
Your neighbors will eat. There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work.
It's interesting how she describes being a cook in such an elaborate way. It's like cooking food for your neighbors to eat. It's like, you mean like a cook? You know what I mean? Like, or driving a bus. Okay, it's one thing to drive a bus, but do you have to add that drives your family to work? It's like, what?
There is nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States
I agree.
of America.
Wholeheartedly.
And there is everything dignified about it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank God for Donald Trump.
I, in fact, am encouraged when people remind the country of my past, not because of anything about my story, but because it communicates that if I could work in a restaurant and become a member of the United States Congress, so can you.
Who didn't work in a restaurant who's become whoever? I mean, to me, if you didn't work in a restaurant as a kid, you mean nothing to me. I'm just kidding, but honestly, who didn't work in a restaurant? Did you work in a restaurant, Phil? No. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell for 2 weeks.
See?
2 weeks, though.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, at least you worked in a restaurant.
Yeah, I tried.
I mean, most people, I guarantee you, if I open up the Facebook page, did whatever, I bet you I could start an entire conga line of people announcing the first restaurant they worked in. In fact, my first restaurant that I worked in, I was selling newspapers, and I was a busboy at Frank and Helen's on the weekends in U City. And that was when Frank and Helen owned the joint. It's still around. Frank and Helen's is a great place, man. And I loved working there, but I worked there on the weekends because obviously I couldn't work there on the weeknights. But I worked there on the weekends, and I loved it. I loved working as a busboy. And then I also then I moved on and worked at Telena's on Skinker, and I'd work from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 3 in the morning, because what would happen is it would close down, Telena's would close, and they would then Mike Failla and his mink coat would walk in with all of his friends, and they'd party on into the wee hours of the morning, and we would serve them. We made egg cream, what are they called again? Egg cream shakes or something? They were good. But we made those, and they were drinking beer and pizza, and they would just roll out, and we'd make tips galore. And I had a good time. I worked 12-hour days. I made a lot of money that I spent on car wrecks, usually, or parking tickets or something. But nonetheless, I made a lot of money doing that. And the only thing I did that was any way nefarious is sometimes we'd go down to the freezer with a spoon, and we'd jab that into the tub of Spumoni ice cream and eat right out of the tub. That's about as much of workplace theft as we got involved in. We'd have to go down and get something. We'd grab a spoon before we went, and we just eat out of the Spumoni container. Sorry, that's what we did. I learned how to take that hard part off a head of lettuce there too. Just telling you, that's what I learned. Anyway, this Ocasio-Cortez thing reminds us all of this one too. Don't you think? I'm sorry, I'm gonna blast your ears out here, but you remember the time that
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where.
This is so hideous, I almost can't listen to it again. You know what I mean? And plus, if you looked at Hillary Clinton's face while she's doing it, she knows she's, because they're cheering on, because what else are you going to do but cheer on in sheer humiliation and embarrassment and watch her, and her eyes are like wide open. And she's like so digging the fact that like they buy her baloney. She's just, it's almost like she's drugged. Look at that tape. Then Joe Biden didn't disappoint either when he was in front of black people.
What they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
I mean, really? I mean, that's unbelievable, but that's what you're getting from the Democrats. They certainly know how to do it. I'm just surprised black people put up with that kind of stuff, and they just don't have their BS detectors just pinning at that. Anyway, you can call Tammy.com real estate listener line, 844-855-1380. It's Common Sense Radio.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
This is a message to business owners. The strongest selling proposition is to get your customer into your store in front of your product. Now you can do that digitally everywhere with Salem Surround. Digital marketing that easily takes your business beyond its four walls, putting your message on people's computers, tablets, and mobile phones everywhere. Your digital ad virtually puts them into your store in front of your products. Salem Surround takes the mystery of digital marketing off your shoulders, letting you run your business while we deliver customers. Call us at Salem Surround for a free analysis of your digital marketing effectiveness and suggested ideas that could dramatically increase your sales. There are no limitations on where you can reach customers. Salem Surround, total market penetration for increased ROI. Learn more by logging on to surroundstl.com. Surroundstl.com, connecting you with new customers.
All right, friends, Arrowhead Building Supply. Yes, we are live in this beautiful Arrowhead Building Supply studio. And boy, I got to tell you, you got to try to see if you can follow Rick Pogue on Facebook because he's really funny. And he's also one of the owners of Arrowhead Building Supply. And his father, Jerry, who started out as a young roofer, talk about working in restaurants. Jerry started out putting roofs on the suckers, and he did a great job. And that's what turned into Arrowhead Building Supply. He became one of the people who supplies the shingles, and that's kind of what it's all about. It's not everything it's all about, because Arrowhead Building Supply is so great at customer service and so zeroed in on all that you care about, not only as a consumer, but also as a contractor. So as a contractor, they have the 315 guarantee, the 3-hour delivery, no longer than a 15-minute wait for resupplies. They have all the things that make it easier for you to do your job, including for both contractor and customer, the thing called the Cube. And the Cube is where you can put a picture of your home in there and see what roofing, siding, guttering, whatever you happen to be, what it looks like on your home before you buy it, which is an amazing piece of technology, and they have it there. They're building out that new St. Peter's showroom location where they're building a house inside of a building, which is amazing. So you're going to see exactly what things look like on the home, because it's really just literally a home built inside a building. It's pretty amazing, but it's kind of the emblem of passion and assertiveness and get-to-itiveness that you get from a guy like Rick Pogue and Jerry and the rest of the gang there. They're always just pulling out all the stops to make it easier for you to make your choices and also easier for you to do business with them and to be happy with your home. And also, if you don't have a contractor, you can go ahead and get one referred to you, because they have a contractor referral service at Arrowhead Building Supply. So check it out on the web. It's arrowheadbuildingsupply.com. That's arrowheadbuildingsupply.com.
This is Scott Ferguson, the Director of Outreach at St. Matthew United Methodist Church in Belleville, Illinois. If you're presently looking for a church home, we would love for you to join the church family at St. Matthew. We have 3 Sunday morning services: the 8 a.m. traditional service, 9:17 is our contemporary service, and the 10:45 a blended service with a full choir and orchestra. You can find additional information at our website, stmatthewumc.org. We'd love to see you on Sunday morning.
Good morning, everybody. You want to do a little talk about, let's call this pillow talk, okay? How about My Pillow Talk? And here's the deal. MyPillow.com MyPillow.com/Jamie is your key to 2 different things you're going to love from MyPillow. You're going to love the MyPillow 4-pack, which is 2 big pillows and 2 to-go pillows. Maxie, I've decided I'm going to bequeath to you. Well, let's see, were there 2 pillows there waiting for me? Are there 2? Are there 1?
I believe there are 2.
There are 2. So I'll give you a MyPillow. And Phil, did you want a MyPillow? Okay, so I'm going to give Phil a MyPillow too, because I already have the MyPillow because I'm already a customer. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to take the sheets, though, however, because I love the sheets, and have had those before, too, because the MyPillow and Mike Lindell and his gang, MyPillow.com/Jamie, is a great product. The pillows are absolutely beautifully comfortable and fit to your needs as a sleeper. And then they have the to-go pillows, too, so you can take those with you and have that comfort anywhere you go. And you get free shipping as well. MyPillow.com/Jamie, and 30% off these beautiful sheets with cotton grown in the Sahara region there, Middle East there. Perfect place to grow cotton, comfortable and cool. MyPillow.com/Jamie.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump thanking his outgoing Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen for her service. Nielsen has resigned. The president already naming a successor, Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan. Calling President Trump's taxes old news, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says Democrat demands for release of Mr. Trump's personal taxes are nothing more than political theater. Mulvaney tells Fox News Sunday the real issue for the Democrats is the 2016 election. He says they still can't get over Mr. Trump's victory. Senator Bernie Sanders leading the pack in fundraising in the race for the Democrat presidential nomination. He's raised more than $18 million in the first fundraising quarter, far outpacing his rivals. Wall Street, the Dow down 111 points. The S&P is off 6 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
We just can't break free of accidents. 270 northbound, stop and go from Gravois to 44, left lane blocked with a crash there. 6440 eastbound is jammed from Lindbergh to before Big Bend. Left lane blocked with an accident there. We can see that one from the jam cam at Big Bend. And 70 westbound, your stop and go from Union Boulevard to Jennings Station, a left lane blocked there. 170 southbound, still a good-sized delay there, 170 to Forest Park Parkway, and 6440 eastbound, Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake Manor slows westbound. It's Kings Highway to Laclede Station Road. And traffic is sponsored by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. I'm Bonnie Green with your St. Louis Metro traffic on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
1380 The Answer. Weather.
Today, clouds giving way to some sun with a high of 76. Tonight, patchy clouds with a low of 52. Tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 51. Wednesday, breezy and warm with clouds and sun and a high of 75. I'm Jillian Ford with your St. Louis Metro forecast on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
Curtains, shades, blinds, shutters. What are the best for living rooms or bedrooms? Let me tell you about the quality customized service you will receive when you call Michael Proctor at Proctor Drapery. Michael Proctor is an interior designer with exceptional expertise when it comes to window treatments for your home or business. Michael Proctor has served our St. Louis area since 1974 with the highest quality and value for custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. He is also a top-tier Hunter Douglas priority dealer and your first choice for Norman Plantation shutters. Call Michael Proctor today and schedule your in-home consultation with Michael's mobile design unit. He will come to you. Weekend and evening appointments are available. The one-on-one appointment with Michael Proctor will ensure the look is exactly what you're looking for in your home or business. Cut down on the risk of error and make your home great again. Proctor Drapery is the answer. Schedule your appointment today with Michael. Contact Michael at proctordrapery.com. It's Proctor spelled like doctor.
This hour of Allman in the Morning is brought to you in part by Dr. Anna Smith, the #1 provider of oral sleep appliances in the United States. Learn more at cpapsucks.com.
Listen to Allman in the Morning with Alexa. Wake up and say, Alexa, play The Answer St. Louis. Now, back to Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer.
any minute now. My ship is coming in. I'll keep checking the horizon, and I'll stand on the bow.
9:34. Good morning this morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Waves come crashing.
Don't forget about the May 9th event with me and Larry Elder. It's going to be at the View 17, and it's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be kind of the breakout of the Allman Morning Show as it represents itself on The Answer.
Be still, my love.
And so I'm going to be hanging out with Larry Elder, who's a great man and a great commentator and a great radio host. You hear him from 5 to 8 here on 1380 and 105.3 The Answer. Tickets are $79 for the VIP, and that includes not only a free copy of his book about his dad and his relationship with his father, which is great, but it's also going to be signed by him. And you're also going to get free drinks, free food, and a meet and greet and a tour of this beautiful studio, everything with $79. So that's a pretty great deal for you. And for general admission, if you just want to pop in and just see the event itself, see us up on stage there and talk and interact with us, that's $13.80. So it's a great deal. TheAnswerSTL.com is where you can go ahead and get the tickets, and so that's going to be great. By the way, talking about the gullibility of some Democrats, and here's a great testimony to that. So we have so Mark Cation brought in this book. You know, some people just send links, right? Mark Cation just gives me, here, read this. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I go, Mark, this is a radio show. I'm not going to, giving me a book the book doesn't talk, doesn't show me anything, nothing. Here, read this. Anyway, but Mark has given me some good books. He gave me the Calvin Coolidge book. But here's a great example of the difference. Even though this is a paperback and this is a hardback, but the hardback, my rear, this is kind of like a lame. It might as well be paper. So here's an example. Calvin Coolidge, first of all, one of our greatest presidents, and did not have the stomach to run again after his first term because he'd had it. Because he went on he was elected and at a time when it was just about 10 years after the whole the debacle known as the 16th Amendment passed, the federal income tax. I'm trying to find I'm sorry, I'm kind of a little bit off here. I'm trying to find the tape I usually play. I need to just keep that as my go-to. And he warned Americans about what was to come if we didn't get a hold of our budgets. If we didn't somehow say, hey, we are in deep trouble if we don't get a hold of our budding, growing, ballooning budget that we have. And this was in 1924. So, and this was then, a full 11 years after the income tax was introduced. And of course, he went out in what was the first time a president had ever been recorded on film and audio at the same time. It was the first time that Americans had ever seen a president, when they weren't in person, had ever seen a president speaking on film. It's pretty crazy. And what he said was pretty crazy too, and pretty amazing. I'm going to play it for you as soon as I get this thing moving here. President Calvin Coolidge taken on the White House grounds. Take it away, Calvin. This is from DeForest Phonofilms. Good morning this morning.
The country needs every ounce of its energy to restore itself. The costs of government are all assessed upon the people. This means that the farmer is doomed to provide a certain amount of money out of the sale of his produce, no matter how low the price, to pay his taxes. the manufacturer, the professional man, the clerk must do the same from their income. The wage earner, often at a higher rate when compared with his earning, makes his contribution, perhaps not directly, but indirectly, in the advanced cost of everything he buys. The expenses of the government reach everybody. Taxes take from everyone a part of his earnings and force everyone to work for a certain part of his time for the government.
That was in 1924. Calvin Coolidge was warning about what eventually has happened. And it is that he said, if you don't watch out, eventually we, the working people of America, are going to work a certain portion of their week just to support the government. And that was in 1924. That was 10 years after this gluttonous, disgusting, unconstitutional move was made by Republicans and Democrats that wound up with the federal income tax, which is something that the Founding Fathers never intended to happen. They tried it. They made a run at it in 1894, and the Supreme Court said, no, that's completely unconstitutional. That it was a direct federal taxation is not constitutional. Before that, it was always states that would put the government on a diet, so the federal government couldn't grow at a crazy rate because it wasn't just taking money out of everybody's paychecks. And then suddenly it did. And within 10 years, Calvin Coolidge was well aware of what was going on. He's like, people, we are just spending out of control. You know why they're spending out of control? Because it's not their money. So they're spending out of control because they're just taking people's incomes. How that was ever defensible is still a mystery to me. And it's a long story about how we came up with that. Actually, the Republicans started it, Taft and his idiotic crew, because they never thought it was going to happen. So it was almost like a dare, and suddenly, lo and behold, there it is. I still question whether or not it was fully ratified, but that's another day. But this guy, Calvin Coolidge, was brilliant. And so by the time 1928 rolled around, he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I warned you guys what was going on. I'm not going to sit here and preside over this mess. You people are lunatics. You're spending out of control. No one's listening to me. And so I see the writing on the wall. I'm not going to be part of this whole thing anymore. So he didn't run again. But he was probably the most brilliant. As conservatives go, Calvin Coolidge ought to be your guy. That's for sure. So anyway, to my point, it's a long way to go. Sorry for this. But you know me. Calvin Coolidge is a book that Kaysen gave to me. And the Calvin Coolidge book is 1899. Okay? When was this book written? And let me just get a date on here. Like it's Seaworth of baloney. I would. 2013. Okay? 2013, 1899 for an excellent biography of Calvin Coolidge. And 1899 is a perfect price because anybody who's going to read it probably is a conservative. Probably is somebody who wants to know a little bit more about what true conservative government is all about. So what does Saul Cornell do with his book, which was written 7 years earlier than the Calvin Coolidge thing, and is probably about 3/4 of the length of the Calvin Coolidge book, and it's a book about the Founding Fathers and the origins of gun control in America, which basically is a lunatic left defense of gun control is what this is. Just don't kid yourself about the title, A Well-Regulated Militia, the Founding Fathers and the Origins of Gun Control in America. You know how much this book is? $30. I don't even know. I haven't. The one book about the other American hero, Lynn Cheney's book on James Madison, which is of obviously, almost 3 times as long. Actually, it has pictures in it, which is cool too. And that book is only $36. It's only $6 more for a book about James Madison, the guy who wrote the Constitution, basically, by Lynn Cheney. It's $36. And a left-wing cookbook, we call that. There are cookbooks and there are cookbooks. This is a cookbook. It's $30, proving that left-wing lunatics not only are more than happy to part ways, separate you from your money, they're also more than willing to separate themselves from their own money, because that's what they're doing, spending $30 on some left-wing tripe from Saul Cornell. But thank you, Mark, for bringing that in. I'll try to give it a read. I'll check with Dave Murray and find out when hell's going to freeze over. We'll see that. I'll make sure I pay attention to all that. All right. Speaking of conservatism, did you see this? I don't want to depress you too much about this, but there's an article in USA Today, and it's a pretty good one. I mean, it really is actually USA Today sometimes will give you some pretty interesting stuff. But they say that it looks like the dreams of a truly conservative Supreme Court that will basically change how we look at government, how we look at things, is probably not going to happen anytime very soon unless there's another conservative justice. And that's because apparently Brett Kavanaugh and John Roberts are apparently involved in a bromance, as USA Today calls it. They've, following Kavanaugh's replacement of Anthony Kennedy, Roberts has become the court's swing vote, and Kavanaugh often appears to be his wingman, which is not good news. Example includes the court's action last October, giving those challenging a citizenship question in the 2020 Census access to additional information about the plan. So people can challenge that now, even a basic question of your citizenship. It didn't even consider the Republican states' efforts in the states that were, and this is a really bad one. The states that were Republican led said, you know what, we're going to defund Planned. We don't want to partake in funding Planned Parenthood anymore. It was a states' rights issue, and the court ruled in December, well, we're not going to even consider that case. We're not going to make a ruling on the case. They punted. They didn't have to. Kavanaugh and Roberts could have taken it up and made a clear, great delineation of states' rights when it comes to funding Planned Parenthood. And for that matter, that could have translated somehow into also sanctuary cities. But the states, by the way, are the ones who had to try to effort to opt out of funding Planned Parenthood, because heaven knows our Republican Congress has done nothing to stop the funding of Planned Parenthood, which is not defensible. It's not defensible to fund Planned Parenthood, and it's not defensible that Republicans haven't lifted a finger to do that. Then also, it's ruling in February that Texas cannot execute a prisoner who claims to have an intellectual disability. I don't really actually look at that as a liberal idea. I happen to think that there's a case to be made that the death penalty is unconstitutional. But anyway, in all three of those actions, the Associate Justice Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito all made known that they were not going to be part of this. Roberts and Kavanaugh appear to have voted with the court's liberals, even though the exact breakdown was not exactly known about the whole Planned Parenthood thing, but the reality is Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito have all made known their dissent on two of these actions. So they're refusing to hear another case, and this one is in New Jersey. New Jersey county's efforts to include churches in a historic preservation program, and a Washington State high school coach's plea to conduct prayers on the football field. Kavanaugh did talk about the need to protect religious liberty, but they don't listen to that. They don't listen to the people in wanting that delineated, that put in stone, basically. So people don't realize that as much as these guys tried to diminish Kavanaugh as this right-wing gunslinger, he apparently is a lot more moderate than Neil Gorsuch is. And actually, apparently he was pretty moderate on the D.C. circuit, Kavanaugh was, and that wasn't brought to anybody's attention because everybody's too busy maligning him with these fake accusations. So anyway, it's going to take perhaps Ruth Bader Ginsburg to go away and to maybe hope for one new conservative justice on the court to actually get some of these issues taken care of, dealt with. Because I think this religious liberty issue ought to be defined by the Supreme Court, and definitely believe that the Planned Parenthood funding ought to be defined by the Supreme Court. So we'll watch that, but USA Today has taken note that these two are ideological lovebirds there in the Supreme Court. Your phone calls are welcome. Calltaman.com real estate listener line is 844-855-1380.
More Allman in the Morning coming up on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
Dentistry with TLC. And TLC is an important consideration, folks, because TLC comes more than just in the form of hugs and kisses. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to get that from Dr. Anna Smith anyway, even if you want it. She doesn't do that kind of thing. But let me tell you something. When it comes to TLC, in terms of making you feel special, in terms of making you feel like you're at the top of the line, making sure that everything is convenient for you and well taken care of, let me tell you something. That is where you're going to get true TLC. I'll tell you different ways that it's done. For instance, she does 10-minute root canals. Painless root canals. That's great for you because we all know what root canals and the reputation they have. And then you also have the wonderment of the implants. And this is 15 minutes, again, pain-free. Fast braces. She is the top-of-the-line expert in the bi-state area with fast braces. She was the first actual master in the dentistry field here in this area, mastering the fast braces technology. And therefore, if you're looking for a way to make sure that your teeth are straightened quickly than any other form out there, she makes that happen for you at a convenience for you. She has a dental plan for you. If your insurance right now is not up to snuff or you don't have any dental insurance, $19 a month gives you the routine cleanings and the exams and 15% off any work that you need done. And she also gets you in when you need to get in. You can go ahead at dentistry.tlc.com, get a number there, call it, say, or text the number and say, I need this, and they'll get a bounce back to you fast, and then they can get you in within 2 days is a promise. If they can't, then of course you're going to get $50 off the next time you need help with them. Anyway, it's a guarantee that it normally is always followed through on. So check it out right there on the web, dentistrywithtlc.com. That's dentistrywithtlc.com.
I'm native to St. Louis and particularly endeared to the small businessman like Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Old Town Fenton. Their specialty, their huge selection of handguns, sporting firearms, fishing equipment, and archery. Denny Dennis's trained staff always make sure that you are fitted with the right handgun or sports equipment. Another attraction, their museum of hunted game from around the world. Denny Dennis Sporting Goods with everyday low prices. Like Denny Dennis on Facebook to see their current specials. And make sure to tell Denny that Dana sent you.
KXFN, St. Louis, K287BY, St. Louis. When you listen to the Ed Martin movement, you never know who's going to drop in.
Mike Gallagher, welcome back to the program.
I got to tell you this. The very first celebrity I interviewed as a 17-year-old kid in 1978 in Dayton, Ohio, was Phyllis Schlafly. And I will never forget it. It was one of the highlights. I'm not kidding. And I've bragged to everybody for years. I interviewed Phyllis Schlafly. So to talk to you is just incredible.
Tune in to the Ed Martin movement. Weekdays from 3 to 5 to find out who's dropping in next. The Dana Show, this afternoon at 1. Now, more Allman in the Morning on 1380 and 105.3. The Answer.
Sorry, I was busy trying to figure out this thing Phil sent to me, which is a video, a mashup brought to us by InfoWars. And they had a contest for a song contest involving the Hillary I don't feel no ways tired speech. But here's one thing in radio you never want to do before you play something, and that is ask the question, is it clean? Because if it's not clean, then you're really in trouble. And I'm assuming that, right, Maxie? Is that the whole... You never say, is this clean, and then push play on the radio. The FCC doesn't like that. Well, it doesn't like it if it's not clean. You can say whatever you want, but I'm just telling you, after years of award-winning radio, after years of being in the radio, you learn not to do that. So anyway, I honestly, it probably is clean, but I haven't checked it. So if you don't check it, you can't play it. That's just the bottom line. You never know. It's like whenever I try to, like, sometimes on YouTube, YouTube's really bad. If you're trying to find a song on YouTube, for instance, that you're like, oh yeah, let me play this song, and you suddenly get, it suddenly is some kind of like jacked up version of the song, because you never know. There's all these people on YouTube who do these remakes of songs, and you never actually know until they're cussing up a Blue Street that it's a different version of it. So anyway, I'm not gonna. Tomorrow we'll play the Hillary Clinton. I'm sure it's funny, but we will. We'll get to that at some point, I think. We'll let you know too that the judge has lifted that ban on the unvaccinated kids up in New York. That became very controversial, and a judge says, "I don't know. You really can't do that." We're going to kind of dig deeper into that decision, but there was something not right when they and this is another example of counties and small municipalities, but people like that running amok, and they decided to go ahead and ban unvaccinated kids in New York, but the problem is you can't do that and then not know how you're going to decide to administer or enforce the ban. Like, how are you going to tell if somebody hasn't been vaccinated? You know, what do you do? Go around the playground and demand to see? I mean, that was the problem with, but a lot of these people who are these knee jerkers never think about that. They never think about how that is enforced. I'll never forget in Webster Groves once, they had this citizens panel. You got to watch out for those because those people run crazy because they're on a citizens panel, so they have to do something. And anybody who wants to be on a citizens panel, by the way, is probably a control freak anyway. So they're on the citizens panel, and they decide they're going to ban smoking inside of people's homes. And we're like, well, how are you going to enforce that? Well, we just have people tell on their parents. I'm like, what? Like you're relying on children in the homes to contact authorities and tell them that mommy and daddy are smoking in the home? So needless to say, that didn't go over very well. But it just goes to show you, sometimes these people with a little bit of power run crazy. All right, folks, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget about Allman and Elder. Thursday, May 9th here at View 17, theanswerstl.com for your tickets. Have a good one.
Portions of Allman in the Morning sponsored by the History Channel.
I'm Rich Thomason. The U.S.